After finishing the bandaging, Yingji asked about the Xia gang. Zhao Wu had been too busy flirting with the beauty to remember that Xia gang had run away. He quickly snapped back to reality and turned to chase after him. He reminded Yingji to watch over Liang Su, but as soon as he ran out the door, he had to stop because the entrance was blocked. Xia gang's people were already there. That bastard Xia gang had called every security guard in the building. There were so many of them, all trained professionals. With just the two of us, it would be nearly impossible to break through. Zhao Wu exchanged a glance with Yingji, considering their next move, when suddenly an idea struck him. As the guards rushed toward them, the surroundings suddenly plunged into darkness. The security guards were thrown into a panic, completely confused about what was happening. At that moment, the system's voice echoed, electric shielding mode activated, night vision mode activated. Zhao Wu sneered, "It's time for me to show off." He then swiftly struck one of the guards in the neck. When it came to fighting, Zhao Wu was definitely a master. He swung his wooden club relentlessly, and soon, the area was filled with the sounds of painful cries. Many of the guards, still clueless about what was happening, were knocked down before they even knew it. One of them tried to hide in the corner and called for backup. Suddenly, a hand slapped his shoulder. When he turned around, he received a knockout punch and collapsed on the spot. Just like that, Zhao Wu quickly took down all the guards. Yingji stood in the darkness, stunned, wondering why there hadn't been a single sound. Zhao Wu had already activated the surveillance equipment, keeping an eye on Xia Gang's movements. On the screen, Xia Gang was in the lobby with a group of security guards. Zhao Wu was taken aback. There were still more of them. If they charged, we wouldn't stand a chance. With my injuries, continuing to fight wouldn't be a wise choice. Anna walked over to Yingji and patted her on the shoulder. Even though Yingji couldn't see anything in the dark, her reaction was incredibly fast. She threw a punch that almost hit Zhao Wu. "It's me," Zhao Wu said. Hearing Zhao Wu's voice, she finally felt relieved. Zhao Wu then led her into the secret room. Yingji was shocked when she saw the woman lying on the floor. Is this really Liang Su? She looks exactly like the reconstruction file the team made. She's still alive. Zhao Wu closed the door to the secret room. If Xia Gang escapes this time, it will be very hard to catch him. I'm going after him. You stay here to protect Liang Su and wait for backup. This secret room doesn't have a code. No one can get in. Be careful. Yingji grabbed Zhao Wu, shaking her head. You're injured. There are so many people outside. Going out there is like asking for death. If anyone should go, it should be me. Zhao Wu firmly shook his head. Listen to me. I have to go. No matter what happens, you can open this door. Even if I don't catch Xia Gang, you must protect Liang Su, the only witness. Yingji was moved by Zhao Wu's selfless spirit. He continued. She's the only one who can prove that Xia Gang is the ruthless murderer. I'm going out now, and it's 9 parts death, 1 part survival. I have no regrets, but I need to tell you something. I really like you. His sudden confession left Yingji with a complicated expression. Zhao Wu sighed, looking deep and serious. Before I go, please give me a reward. Before Yingji could react, Zhao Wu kissed her. Yingji froze, unable to bring herself to push him away. Seeing that she didn't resist, he kissed her harder, not pulling away until much later. Then he turned and walked into the darkness. Yingji stood there, watching his back too moved to say a word. But she didn't expect that. As soon as she stepped out the door, Zhao Wu revealed his true colors, smiling as he activated his invisibility suit. There's still a long way to go in this life. How could I be stupid enough to just walk to my death? Before jumping into the fight, Zhao Wu had kissed his female colleague, and immediately, it was like he'd been injected with adrenaline. Without hesitation, he rushed outside. The invisibility suit lost its effect shortly after, and the support team had arrived. He quickly informed everyone. Yingji is in the secret room in Xia Gang's office. There are dozens of bodyguards surrounding the place. We need to rescue her now. She's with the only witness, Liang Su. Its colleagues were stunned, jaws dropping. Liang Su, the person from all those years ago, is still alive. Zhao Wu didn't have time to explain. He called 2 people to follow him, then drove at high speed down the road. Jiang Jingfeng, while driving, turned his head and asked, Zhao, you told us to go catch Xia Gang, but the direction we're heading doesn't seem to match where the team's chasing him. Also, isn't your shoulder still bleeding? Before he could finish the question, Zhao Wu interrupted. Did everyone unbuckle their seatbelts? Once he confirmed everyone was secure, Zhao Wu suddenly grabbed the steering wheel and swerved sharply to the right. The car crashed through a barrier, flew down a slope, and collided with an oncoming taxi. Both cars were going incredibly fast, and after the impact, they were forced to stop by the roadside. The 2 people sitting in the car stared blankly, cursing Dan what just happened. Zhao Wu didn't respond. He simply kicked open the car door and walked towards the taxi. Inside, the driver, wearing a baseball cap, was stunned. As soon as he saw Zhao Wu approach, he immediately pointed a gun at him. A burst of bullets hit Zhao Wu's bulletproof vest. Zhao Wu grabbed the man's wrist, yanked him out of the car, and threw him over his shoulder with a sharp crack of dislocated bones. The driver could only scream in pain. When his colleagues recognized the driver, they were shocked. "Isn't that Xia Gang?" Zhao Wu, pleased with himself, took out a pair of handcuffs and said, "Good thing I'm smart," and put a tracking device on him. That way, he couldn't escape again. Zhao Wu held him tightly and continued, "Quick, take a picture for me." Jiang Jingfeng, a bit confused, asked, "You knew Xia Gang was headed this way. Why didn't you report it?" Zhao Wu replied, "If I reported it, would the reward still be ours? When we see the boss later, we'll just tell him we were taking me to the hospital, and we happened to run into him along the way and caught him." The two of them didn't expect that Zhao Wu had thought of them, even in this situation. They were so moved, they nearly cried. Back at the police station, a subordinate approached and said, "Officer Zhao, the city department just got the DNA results. The person being held is definitely Liang Su, but she's been locked up for so long that she's having trouble communicating with people. It could take a long time to get information from her, especially if we try to get her to talk about the case." Another colleague reported, "The arrest of Han Wen-jun went smoothly, but he lied to the police, claiming he has asthma. He secretly took poison, which is extremely toxic and is currently in critical condition at the hospital. He won't be able to give any statements about what happened back then. The most troublesome thing right now is still Xia Gang. He hired our most famous lawyer Feng to try and get him released on bail. This old fox claimed during the interrogation that he was severely injured and couldn't remember anything. The team leader and the others took turns questioning him, but it led to no results. They couldn't get anything out of him." Zhao Wu thought for a moment, and it seemed like he had a plan in mind. "Don't rush. Could you help me find Xia Jun's medical records?" Just outside the interrogation room, Yingji walked out looking tired. Zhao Wu noticed her and went over to her. "Here, have some water. What a coincidence you were here too." Yingji frowned as she talked about the interrogation. "That Xia Gang won't talk, not even if he dies," she started to say, but her words were cut off by a kiss. "Zhao Wu, you're kissing your female colleague again." Yingji was a martial arts expert. When it came to romance, she was a little clueless. Her small face instantly turned bright red. "What are you doing?" Zhao Wu moved in closer like a thug, the situation feeling 9 parts dangerous and 1 part playful. "Don't I deserve a little reward?" Yingji nervously brushed her hair, feeling a bit embarrassed. "I almost forgot. Do you think this reward is enough?" she said, pushing Zhao Wu down. In that moment, Zhao Wu could only groan in pain. Then, he suddenly turned his head and gave her a devilish smile. "Still not enough. How about acting out one more scene with me?" Back in the interrogation room, Zhao Wu crossed his legs and sat in front of Xia Gang, ready to deliver some news. "Good news, your partner, Han Wen-jun, has committed suicide." This statement immediately caught Xia Gang's attention. Yingji, standing behind him, was a bit surprised and worried. What is Zhao Wu trying to do? Telling him this will only make him more confident, won't it? Zhao Wu didn't seem to care, but Han Wen-jun hadn't thought about what would happen to his son and grandson if he were to die. "The girl behind me is the toughest in our team." Just hearing this, she's already grinding her teeth, barely holding back her anger. Has he been living too comfortably lately? Is he asking for a beating? She's already come up with a way to get him to confess everything. Does he want to know? Yingji was confused. When did I come up with that idea? Zhao Wu turned around and continued his act. "Don't worry, your plan will definitely work. You go ahead and leave the rest to me." Then he walked up to Yingji and said loudly, "Leave the rest to me. You go outside." Yingji felt a bit puzzled, unsure of what Zhao Wu was up to, but she still followed his instructions obediently. Zhao Wu then approached Xia Gang and took out a photo. "Do you recognize her?" Liang Shuhan, the girl he had kidnapped and killed. Xia Gang remained silent. Zhao Wu continued, "Even if you don't remember, her father is Liang Wanxian. You definitely recognize him. His financial power is on par with yours. You two have even collaborated in business before. You've killed so many people's children. Logically, the Xia Gang should feel guilty. He should be worried that his son, Xia Jia-jun, would seek revenge. But strangely, Xia Jia-jun had very few bodyguards around him. We've checked your son's medical records. Since he was 16, he's been regularly visiting a Chinese medicine doctor, not for dental work, but to change the tracking device in his tooth. This means that even if Xia Jia-jun is kidnapped, you will always know where he is. Look here, this is the location of the tracking device we got from the dentist. With just a flick of my finger, your son's location will be sent to your enemy Liang Wanxian's phone. His only daughter was killed because of you. This is the price you have to pay for that." At this point, Xia Gang couldn't keep his composure any longer. He roared like an enraged bull. "You're about to kill someone, you dog." Zhao Wu spat in his face. "You, a filthy dog, dare talk to me about killing people? 5 lives, including Liang Su-so. How many families have you destroyed? Don't talk about Liang Wang-xian. The families of the other victims wish your son were buried with them. If your son dies, it's your fault." As he spoke, he was about to press the button, but Xia Gang couldn't take it anymore. He immediately dropped his knees and screamed, "Please, no. Officer, I'll tell you everything, just don't press it. My son is innocent. Please spare him." Yingji was in the office going over some documents. Just as she was about to take a sip of water, her cup was snatched away. She looked up and saw Zhao Wu. "Did you get anything out of him?" she asked. Zhao Wu smugly sprawled across her desk. "So how are you planning to thank me?" Yingji teasingly lifted Zhao Wu's chin. "Talk if you're going to talk. If not, get lost." That flirtatious move made Zhao Wu feel a rush of excitement. He raised his hand and gently brushed Yingji's nose. "I like seeing you like this, soft and sweet. Now you're going to act all serious again." Yingji wasn't going to let that slide. She stepped forward, wrapped her arms around Zhao Wu's neck, and threatened, "I'll give you 1 second. Say your last words if you have any." Zhao Wu knew better than to push it. He wisely stopped there. Pulling out a voice recorder, he grinned. "Don't you want to hear how he confessed? Besides me, you're the only one who knows all of this. But something this important, shouldn't we find a quieter place to talk?" The girl seemed to see right through him. "Really? You just want to lie down and listen slowly, don't you? Or are you planning to start taking off your clothes too?" Zhao Wu blushed and nodded sheepishly. Suddenly, there was a loud noise followed by the sound of punches and kicks. Zhao Wu finally sat quietly to one side. "Can we maybe take it easy next time we talk things out?" he muttered. Yingji signaled him to be quiet, then raised the recorder to her ear and listened intently. 27 years ago, just a month after Xia Gang's son was born, his wife was diagnosed with a terminal illness. In a small, run-down house, Xia Gang prepared a simple meal with stir-fried chives. His old comrades, Han Wen-jun and Su Yang, raised their glasses and drank with him. They suggested pooling some money together so his wife could get checked at a better hospital. But Xia Gang had already thought about all of that. The only real option was treatment overseas. Just the surgery alone would cost 400,000 yuan. Even if all 3 of them sold everything they owned, it still wouldn't be enough. Han Wen-jun lifted his glass and said, "Gang, I have a business opportunity that can make money quickly. I don't know if you'd be willing to do it, but if we succeed, not only can we pay for the surgery, but we'll have some left over." Xia Gang, feeling like he had just found a lifeline, quickly nodded and replied, "I'll do it. As long as it can save her, I'll do anything." Han Wen-jun continued, "Do you guys know Cheng Sanli?" Cheng Sanli was a well-known wealthy man back in the day. He had the contract for all the silver mines on this mountain. At the time, there were many hard-to-dig tunnels in the mine that required special equipment to access. Cheng Sanli had made enough money, and it was becoming too much of a hassle, so he decided to sell off the rights to those difficult tunnels. Han Wen-jun was a member of the survey team, so he knew a lot about the mine and how to break rocks. The 3 of them pooled all their savings, 100,000 yuan, and took a gamble by acquiring one of those tunnels. To their surprise, they struck a large, rare ore deposit, and once they began mining, it would bring in millions of yuan in profit. At that moment, Xia Gang was so excited that he cried out, thinking his wife would finally have a chance at life. But unfortunately, Cheng Sanli caught wind of this and led a group of men into the mine. They tore up the contract and took everything for themselves. The 3 of them tried every possible way to find Cheng Sanli and argue their case, but they couldn't get what they rightfully deserved. Xia Gang's wife also passed away because she couldn't get the treatment she needed in time. In the end, they decided to get revenge on Cheng Sanli by kidnapping him and demanding money from his family. But since they needed a car for the kidnapping, the 3 of them decided to hijack one. Ironically, they were stopped, and to their surprise, there was a child in the car, the grandson of Su Yang. Su Yang had planned to run away, but Xia Gang and Han Wen-jun both knew that there was no turning back now. If the child went back and told the adults, their plan would be ruined. With no other choice, they reluctantly decided to go through with it. Han Wen-jun held a knife to Niu Wei-wang's neck. Following his command, the car started moving again. The 3 of them came up with a new plan. It took a long time to convince Su Yang, but they finally agreed to go directly to the children's families to demand ransom. They only wanted money and promised not to hurt anyone. Once they got the cash, they planned to disappear without a trace. The ransom collection went smoothly. Su Yang knew the area well. He stood on a cliff across the way and directed the families to throw the money down. Xia Gang was waiting below the cliff to collect it. First, he removed the police tracking devices, then stuffed the ransom into bags. One of the ransom packages felt very light, so he tossed the entire leather bag in with the others. After gathering the money, he used a rope they had set up earlier on the opposite cliff to climb back up. Su Yang was waiting at the top to help him. They had hidden the small truck nearby that had been repainted and given fake plates. The police were focused on the cliff where the ransom was thrown, so no one noticed them. They waited until nightfall, then drove the truck away. Later, when Su Yang let his guard down, the two of them knocked him out. They believed that as long as he was conscious, he would only interfere with their plan. Han Wen-jun had already planted explosives at the mine. The two had agreed from the start that they couldn't let any hostages live, but there was one exception, Liang Su-su. Xia Gang's wife had been his childhood sweetheart, and Liang Su-su had looked just like her when she was young. No matter how much he was warned, he insisted on keeping her alive. As they lit the fuse, a driver heard the sound of the explosives being set off. He sprang up and ran toward the two men, crashing right into Xia Gang. At that moment, Xia Gang was carrying bags of money on his back. One of the leather bags fell to the ground. Niu Weiguan used too much force, pinning Xia Gang to the ground so hard he couldn't get up. In a panic, he stabbed Xia Gang several times with a knife. After it was over, he tried to quickly patch up the wounds, but the explosives were about to go off. Han Wen-jun rushed to pull Xia Gang out. In an instant, the entire mine was filled with dust. The four kids and the driver were buried in the collapse. When Su Yang came to, he broke down, but Xia Gang and Han Wen-jun didn't feel any remorse. Instead, they decided not to leave and chose to stay. Using the money to build a business, they hid the small truck in the pits at the foot of the mountain. Came in the Venetian Manaver's house and kept Liang Su-su hidden there. Years later, Han Wen-jun came back, worried someone might accidentally stumble upon the remains, and built a wooden fence to seal off the collapsed mine. Xia Gang and Han Wen-jun grew their business together. Because of everything that happened, Su Yang ended up in a mental hospital. There, he kept rambling nonsense, saying things that hinted at the kidnapping. In the end, they had no choice but to find someone to give him a shot that would cause a sudden heart attack. Not long ago, the news reported that the police had found two people related to the accident. He panicked and went around trying to find out more, but when he realized there was no new development, he finally relaxed. Until that day at the engagement party, Zhao Wu brought up Han Wen-jun and Su Yang to Xia Gang. Han Wen-jun also told Xia Gang to just kill Liang Su-su, but for the past 26 years, he had been his emotional anchor. He couldn't bring himself to do it. After hearing everything on the recording, Zhao Wu looked proudly at Ying Ji. Well, pretty thrilling, right? It lines up almost exactly with my theory. Unexpectedly, Ying Ji grabbed Zhao Wu by the collar. I don't know if it matches your theory or not. What I do know is Xia Gang clearly wasn't the one who did the kidnapping, she said, then suddenly leaned in and kissed him forcefully. Zhao Wu remembered the fake scene he had staged that day to trick her and was too embarrassed to say anything. On top of him, Ying Ji pressed down angrily. I risked my life to save you, and you lied to me. Han said, so how exactly did you find out Xia Gang was holding Liang Su-su captive? Zhao Wu started lying with a straight face, saying he had asked a friend with magical powers to help. That friend had eavesdropped on Xia Gang and accidentally overheard this huge secret. With no evidence and unable to ask for help, he had to come up with a desperate plan. Did you plan above on Xia Gang? Do you realize how dangerous that is? Zhao Wu flinched at her words. A faint smile tugged at the corner of his lips as he turned and pinned Ying Ji beneath him. So after all that talking, it turns out you're worried something might happen to me. Just be honest. Do you like me? He said while playfully tugging at her soft lips, but Ying Ji pushed him away. Shameless jerk. We're secret partners working to find the person who killed Ku Ping. If something happened to you, it'd mess things up. Who would ever like you? Zhao Wu said nothing, just quietly watched her blushing face. Suddenly, the bug started picking up sound. Isn't that Homang the one tied up? Zhao Wu was startled. Deep in thought, he completely forgot he was still on top of Ying Ji. The girl was trying to push you off. What are you spacing out for? Get up already. Zhao Wu got up and casually smoothed her hair. My magical friend just woke up. They found a clue about her Ku Ping. Want to come with me? Ying Ji was confused. She didn't know what trick he was playing this time, but since he had somehow managed to catch Xia Gang, maybe he really did have some kind of special ability. Later, they went to Zhai Lingling's villa. My car got scratched, she said. I was checking the dashcam footage and ended up seeing someone tying up Ho Meng. Zhao Wu stared at her suspiciously. You know Ho Meng? When I was little, she was our neighbor. She was always curious and often watched people closely. As Zhao Wu listened, he remembered the time she had restrained him during a neighborhood game. It was quite the coincidence. He had once placed a listening device on her, and now it was actually leading to a real clue. Seeing the device still attached to her clothing, he couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through his back. Yingji leaned in and whispered, "She seems to take good care of herself, huh?" Zhao Wu stayed silent. Sai Lingling kept talking. "Oh right, I heard that guy got into some trouble and ended up in prison." Zhao Wu gave an awkward smile and said, "That's why we'd like to borrow your dashcam for a bit. It might hold some important evidence." They took the dashcam and left together. The younger woman stood at the doorway, puzzled. How had they even known there was something important on her dashcam? The two of them drove to a quiet spot and started reviewing the footage. There it was, the timestamp matched the night Ku Ping had been attacked. It was the same nightclub where Hao Meng said he had blacked out. On screen, Hao Meng appeared unconscious. Someone had struck him from behind and dragged him into a black car. The license plate wasn't visible, and the car was a common model found everywhere. The suspect had clearly chosen it to avoid drawing attention. This could finally prove that Hao Meng had been set up. Yingji thought back to the Ku Ping case report. The fatal wound had been a single, precise stab from behind. The other injuries were likely meant to confuse the investigation. Suddenly, Yingji seemed to have connected the dots. Then she turned off the video and looked at Zhao Wu. "This is your first time watching this video too, isn't it?" His sister asked again, "Then how did you know there was an important clue in her dashcam footage?" Zhao Wu smirked, pretending to be mysterious. "Want to know? Give me a kiss and I'll tell you." His teasing made her heart race. Her face turned red as she tucked her hair behind her ear. All right. Her agreement made Zhao Wu extremely pleased. Just as he leaned in for a kiss, she kicked him out of the car. A few minutes later, the car pulled up in front of Zhao Wu's house. When they arrived, he got out of the car. This evidence could save Hu Meng. Should we report it to the higher-ups? Yingji asked. Zhao Wu turned back after hearing that, speaking firmly. "I believe the gang behind Ku Ping's murder is no small force. Plus, we've got a mole among us. If the two of us keep investigating in secret, it might actually work against us." Yingji thought seriously about it, but Zhao Wu suddenly said something that made no sense. "That's why I say we need to give it our all and make a miracle happen," Zhao Wu continued. Yingji looked confused. Then he added, "Or maybe we go upstairs and sit down to talk things through." Yingji gave him a side glance, clearly seeing through what he was really thinking. She played along casually. "Sure, a gentleman would have opened the door for me by now," Zhao Wu said, excitedly running over to the driver's seat, only to find he couldn't open the door. At that moment, the window slowly rolled down. Yingji flashed him a friendly international middle finger, then floored the gas and sped off, splashing water all over his sharp outfit. Zhao Wu watched the car disappear in the distance, a look of intrigue in his eyes. This woman, she's something else. During this time, the police department held a commendation ceremony to honor officers who had shown outstanding performance in solving a difficult case. Thanks to their hard work and dedication, a shocking and long-buried case was finally brought to light. On stage, the speaker spoke with passion, while the audience below buzzed with excitement. Word had it that the Legal Affairs channel was covering the event and the department would be featured in a special program. The families of the victims from the case 26 years ago were all wealthy. Rumor had it they offered a 10 million yuan reward for catching the killer. However, the higher-ups only accepted 2 million and planned to divide it among those who contributed to solving the case. I heard Zhao Wu alone got 800,000. I'm so jealous. He made a fortune. After the deputy chief finished his speech, he said, "Let's invite Zhao Wu up to the stage to share his experience on cracking the case." Just then, the lights in the conference room suddenly went out. The projector flicked on, playing a video showing Hao Meng being stuffed into a car trunk. The room erupted in chaos. "What the hell is that? Isn't that Hao Meng? That bastard is the one who killed Ku Ping." The deputy chief looked toward the audience, trying to figure out who was playing the video. He spotted a woman's hand near the projector. Turns out, it was our very own Captain Meow. As it turns out, half an hour earlier, Yingji and Zhao Wu had already come up with a bold plan to create a miracle through sheer determination. The two of them had decided to go all in and blow the case wide open. If they kept the investigation under wraps, it would be easy for the bad guys to sniff them out and silence them, just like they did with Ku Ping. So they chose to make everything public and release the video. Once the video finished playing, the conference room was in complete chaos. Every officer in the room stood frozen in shock. Wait a second. Hao Meng was kidnapped. Damn, he was dragged to the crime scene. Then who really killed Ku Ping? Zhao Wu stood at the front of the conference room watching every movement from the people inside. "That spy, are you here? If you are, what expression would you be wearing right now?" At that moment, Yingji was also walking up to the podium. "Colleagues and department heads, this video was just obtained. It was recorded 20 minutes before Ku Ping was killed. The room erupted again. No one could understand why Hao Meng had been kidnapped. Even Deputy Director Luan looked confused. Wasn't Hao Meng the one who killed Ku Ping? Deputy Director Luan, you saw it yourself. Hao Meng was drunk, knocked out, and stuffed into a car trunk. It's clear he was framed. Director Zhao rubbed his temples in frustration. Captain Miao, why didn't you report such crucial evidence earlier? Ying Ji calmly replied, we believe Team Leader Ku's murder was part of a carefully planned conspiracy. The killer knew his schedule and route home. Someone also coordinated to knock out Hao Meng and use him as a scapegoat. That's why we suspect there's a spy within our own department. We were afraid something might go wrong, so we had no choice but to take this cautious approach. Now that we have solid evidence, we request a full reinvestigation of Ku Ping's case. The investigators were stunned, mouths agape. Captain Liu Changhu stood up and said, the reliability and validity of this evidence still need to be discussed. We can't just rely on one video to make such a major decision. If we're wrong, it'll be a huge embarrassment. Ying Ji quickly responded, this video is real. It's solid evidence. Liu Changhu pushed back. We can't just take your word for it. We need concrete proof. Before he could finish his sentence, Zhao Wu's furious roar suddenly echoed through the room. Anyone with eyes can see that Ku Ping's murder wasn't done by just one or two people. It was carried out by a massive organization. Our unit is equipped with anti-surveillance systems. Without a spy, how could anyone have known Ku Ping's movements? In my opinion, whoever is trying to block the reinvestigation of Ku Ping's case is the spy. Liu Changhu shouted angrily, Zhao Wu, watch your mouth. Zhao Wu smirked coldly and said, Captain Lai, why are you sweating like that? At that moment, Director Zhou Andong finally spoke up. That's enough. Stop talking. Ying Ji, write a detailed report. I'll send it up and see what the higher-ups decide. If we're told to reinvestigate, I, Zhou Andong, will get to the bottom of it. Finding the truth is our mission as criminal investigators. In the police department's office, the surveillance footage from the meeting room was playing back. We've racked our brains and still can't figure out who the spy is. Zhao Wu said with frustration. If the spy's been exposed like this, they're probably sweating bullets, he added. Ying Ji shook her head helplessly. Everyone in the room looked tensed and was drenched in cold sweat, but no one stood out. Zhao Wu figured they might be terrified of being killed, which is why they looked so nervous. Ying Ji sighed beside him. At this rate, we'll never find them. Just then, Zhang Jingfeng and the subordinate behind him discovered a clue. Team leader, earlier we used the latest facial recognition software on the video of Hu Meng's abduction based on the suspect's sketches from the expert. One of the kidnappers is currently being matched with footage from areas near the crime scene. A dashcam from a private car captured clear evidence. Turns out the attackers were part of an organized, premeditated plan to ambush and kill team leader Ku. The team was still lost in celebration when suddenly, a colleague burst in from outside, clearly out of breath. Something big just happened. Have you all heard? Director Zhao has been transferred. Everyone was stunned by the shocking news. At the meeting to welcome the new director, the team learned through various channels that Tang Zholong had suddenly been reassigned from County T, one of the poorest and most underdeveloped areas. Appointing him as the new head went completely against usual practice. Did he have some kind of powerful backer? Deputy Director Luan and Captain Liu had just found out themselves. Even the higher-ups hadn't been informed in advance. Word was Deputy Director Luan tried to call Director Zhao and his family, but couldn't reach any of them. No one knew what was going on. Zhao Wu and Ying Ji were just as confused. Right when the investigation into Ku Ping's case was gaining momentum, the very leader who had pushed for a full investigation was suddenly replaced. Who was really behind this? On stage, the new director, Tang Zholong, gave his first speech. Before coming here, I received two important directives. First, to handle a follow-up task related to the 26-year-old case. Second, to immediately stop all investigations into the murder of Ku Ping. Anyone who continues the investigation without authorization will face serious disciplinary action. What? Zhao Wu felt like his head was spinning. He quickly looked at Ying Ji, whose reaction mirrored his own. Back at the office, Zhao Wu saw one of his subordinates arguing with someone. He walked over to ask what was going on. The subordinate quickly turned to Zhao Wu and said all the files on Ku Ping's murder case had been deleted from the computer. Zhao Wu shouted, "Who did this?" Everyone knew his temper, so no one dared to speak. Fuming with anger, Zhao Wu turned and stormed out. As he reached the door of Captain Liu's office, he heard a furious roar. "Ying Ji, are you crazy? I'm the captain." Before he could finish, a loud slap echoed, followed by Liu Changhu's agonized scream. Zhao Wu walked over and peeked in. Damn, I really like this woman. Liu Changhu explained that he was just following orders to delete the files, but at the very least, someone should have been informed. Sneaking in to delete everything while no one was around made it feel like theft. Frustrated, Liu continued, "It was an urgent order, not only to delete everything, but also to make sure there were no backups. What kind of ridiculous order is that?" Ying-ji, still heated, looked like she was about to strike again, but someone suddenly grabbed her around the waist. She turned around. It was Zhao Wu. Worried that she might actually hurt Captain Liu, Zhao Wu quickly lifted her up and carried her out of the room. "Let's go, let's get some fresh air and cool off." Even after being forced into the office, Ying-ji was still seething. They should have followed proper procedure. They waited until we were out to wipe the data. What a bunch of scumbags. Zhao Wu chimed in. They even erased the entire case analysis. These guys work fast, I'll give them that. Ying-ji was momentarily speechless. Can you not play both sides right now? Zhao Wu stood up and tried to calm her down. I'm not playing both sides. Their sneaky little cover-up just makes things look even more suspicious, doesn't it? Calm down. Trust me. We'll investigate this ourselves, Zhang Jingfang said emotionally to everyone. Guys, I found the suspect who killed Ku Ping. Have you ever heard of Special Task Force H? Ying-ji looked like he remembered something. Yeah, it was the task force set up a while ago to deal with terrorism. I heard it was disbanded after just 1 year. Zhang Jingfang nodded. Exactly. The members were all elite officers from different police units. After the group was disbanded, they were reassigned to various departments. In the video, there were 2 people who kidnapped Ho Mang. Only one of them was wearing a mask. The other one wasn't. I asked a buddy in the missing persons unit to help reconstruct the suspect's face. We spent the last few days comparing it with profiles of known criminals. Then I noticed something on the guy's tank top. It looked kind of like half a 0, but it wasn't quite right. A 0 isn't shaped like that. Maybe it was an 8. I searched the internal database for Task Force H8 and bingo. Turns out it's their logo. I went through the list of former members and matched the face. Found the guy. His name's Zhao King. He's 37 and used to serve in Task Force H. Everyone got excited and exclaimed, "That's amazing. This info has to stay confidential. If it gets out, it could cause trouble." Zhao Wu agreed. Let's also keep the case talk to a minimum at the station. For now, we'll keep investigating quietly on our own. After work, Zhao Wu didn't say a word to anyone. He just headed straight to the address Zhang Jingfang had given him. Hu Ping is dead. I can't let anyone else get hurt. But strangely, the address clearly pointed to this spot, so why had it turned into a park? Zhao Wu asked an old man nearby if he knew anything about what happened to the place. The old man said there used to be a row of old houses here. They were torn down years ago, and the park was built in their place. While Zhao Wu was struggling to find any clue, he had no idea that Ying-ji was doing the exact same thing. Ying-ji and Zhao Wu were on the same wavelength. She didn't want to drag anyone else into this dangerous investigation either. Fate really does work in mysterious ways. Both of them were asking around for information in the park, passing by each other again and again without ever meeting. The next day at the police station, Zhao Wu was a bit puzzled. He didn't know where Miao Ying-ji had gone. He tried calling her, but her phone didn't go through. When he asked around, a coworker told him she'd taken some time off. Why has she been taking leave these past few days? Zhao Wu wondered. Zhang Jingfang added, she went to the armory to get a gun, but since she just hit the team captain and it's a sensitive time, they wouldn't give it to her. Zhao Wu's eyes widened. Don't tell me she's thinking the same thing I am. Going after Zhao King on her own? With that thought, he bolted out the door, yelling back at Zhang Jingfang to send him Ying-ji's location. The farther he ran, the more panicked he felt. His heart pounded harder with every step. Ying-ji, Ying-ji, you have to be okay. Please don't let anything happen to you. Zhao Wu immediately rushed out of the police station, dialing his phone nonstop while running toward the shopping mall based on the GPS. The map showed Ying-ji was here, but it didn't say which floor. Looking up, he saw at least 10 stories. Where could she be? She had been in this spot for a long time. The more Zhao Wu thought about it, the more anxious he became. Could she have been kidnapped? Just as he was sweating with worry, his phone suddenly rang. It was Ying-ji calling. Without waiting a moment, Zhao Wu answered and urgently asked, "Where are you?" Ying-ji replied, "Room 1003, I think." Zhao Wu didn't hesitate. He quickly said, "Wait for me, just 2 minutes." Before Ying-ji could respond, he hung up and sprinted toward room 1003. He frantically pressed the elevator button, but when the door opened, he found it packed with people. Unable to wait any longer, Zhao Wu turned and ran straight for the stairwell, bumping into a fat man without even noticing. The man yelled angrily at him. At that moment, Zhao Wu seemed to block everything out. His mind only focused on one thing. Ying-ji was alone, unarmed, and she couldn't die. Without hesitation, he started climbing the stairs. All that could be heard in the stairwell was his rapid footsteps. Finally, Zhao Wu reached room 1003. Out of breath, he pushed the door open and was stunned by what he saw. Yingji was lying on the bed, wrapped in a towel, while two other girls were busy around her. Zhao Wu saw this and without a second thought, picked Yingji up and walked out. This left the girls around them completely stunned. "What are you doing?" "The staff tried to stop us. You've not even paid yet." This woman is a suspect. Zhao Wu identified himself as a police officer on duty. As he spoke, he kept carrying her out. "Who's the suspect? Why are you suddenly here? Put me down." Suddenly, Zhao Wu couldn't hold it in anymore. "Damn, we've been searching for you like crazy. I thought Zhao King had torn you apart." Hearing this, Yingji's face turned bright red. "Ah, what are you saying? I've been looking for him for days and couldn't find him. I was so tired, so I went up to the women's club on the rooftop to relax a bit." Zhao Wu was worried, sweat pouring down his face. This completely surprised Yingji. "But since when did you care about me so much?" Zhao Wu looked at her, thought for a moment, and then said, "We've already kissed. I need to take responsibility for you." Yingji blushed even more, feeling embarrassed. Plus, she was only wearing a bath towel, which made things even more awkward. She kept begging him to put her down. But Zhao Wu wouldn't agree. Not only would he not put her down, he even wanted to carry her home. As she struggled, Zhao Wu held her even tighter. This time, he wasn't letting go. Then Zhao Wu carried her out of the women's club. People passing by in a shopping mall stared at them with curious looks. Feeling embarrassed, Yingji hid her face in his chest and didn't dare look up, silently cursing the crazy guy in her arms. Zhao Wu looked at Yingji, who was holding on tighter and tighter, and teased, "Don't move. If your shirt falls off, I'm not responsible." The teasing made the girl's face turn even redder, her heart pounding like a little deer. She softly muttered, "Pervert." Zhao Wu pretended not to hear and repeated, "What did you say?" While they were joking around, the two of them reached the car. Zhao Wu opened the door and shoved Yingji inside. He really didn't care about being gentle with her, making her let out a small groan. He placed one hand on the seat next to her and reached with the other toward her waist, his fingers lightly exploring. This unexpected action caught the girl off guard, making her heart race like it was about to leap out of her chest. She tried to stay calm, calling Zhao Wu's name, hoping it would snap them both back to reality, but he didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. Instead, his hand kept moving deeper. Panicking, the girl asked, "Zhao Wu, what are you doing?" Suddenly, Zhao Wu pulled out a wallet and waved it at her, saying, "Captain Biao, what's with the tension? It's broad daylight. What could I possibly do?" At that moment, the girl's face turned even hotter. Zhao Wu, feeling pleased with himself, turned around and said, "I'm going to buy a bottle of water. You stay here and wait for me." With that, he walked toward the convenience store, leaving the girl alone in the car, her mind still lingering on their conversation. "Wait, you still haven't paid for the massage," she suddenly remembered. Yingji noticed that Zhao Wu's jacket was still in the car, so she decided to use it for now. She found it, carefully put it on, and although it was the first time she wore men's clothes, she felt a bit awkward. But there was no other option, so she wore it anyway. Zhao Wu arrived at the convenience store, grabbed a cold bottle of water, and after running around for a while and sweating a lot, he was incredibly thirsty. But then he thought, where on earth had Zhao King gone? While paying, Zhao Wu couldn't stop thinking about the case. Back then, White Cat payments weren't as easy as they are now. He set his phone down and started digging around in his pockets for some cash. The cashier noticed the photo of Zhao King on Zhao Wu's phone and looked at it with a sense of recognition, as if something clicked in his mind. It turned out the man had just been in the bakery across the street. He was big, wearing a cap pulled down low, and though his back was turned, his build looked exactly like the man in the picture. Zhao Wu walked up to him, unsure, and tapped him on the shoulder, calling out, "Zhao King?" As soon as the man heard that, he got defensive, raising a cake to smash in Zhao Wu's face. Zhao Wu quickly raised his hand to block it, realizing that this was indeed Zhao King. The man turned and tried to run away. Zhao Wu followed his movement, and the smile on his face slowly twisted into something more sinister. "Zhao King, you can't escape." Then Zhao Wu hurriedly chased after him, practically running on all fours. However, Zhao King was surprisingly fast. In the blink of an eye, he ran into the shopping mall and vanished into the crowd. Zhao Wu looked at the sea of people ahead of him, searching desperately. Suddenly, his eyes locked onto one direction. The person frantically running up the escalator was Zhao King. Zhao Wu quickly set off after him. Zhao King noticed his pursuer closing in and he picked up the pace. He was nearing the top floor, with nowhere left to go, but instead of following the usual path, Zhao King unexpectedly spun around and jumped to the other escalator going down. Zhao Wu hadn't anticipated this. Seeing his target slipping further away, he gathered all his strength, slammed his hand on the escalator railing, and leapt towards Zhao King. He crashed directly into Zhao King, who was still trying to escape. At this moment, Zhao King's eyes turned cold with murderous intent. Zhao Wu also glared fiercely, and the two of them fell off the escalator together. Zhao Wu felt like his body was breaking apart. His head was spinning and buzzing. Before he could react, Zhao King locked his arm around his neck from behind. The grip was incredibly strong, as Zhao King had been a special forces soldier. Zhao Wu desperately struck behind him, but Zhao King refused to let go. Zhao Wu's neck was squeezed so tight that he could barely breathe. It felt like he was about to die. In that life or death moment, his survival instincts kicked in and he remembered his device. He activated his invisible breathing apparatus. Zhao Wu took a deep breath, finally feeling at ease. As he regained his composure, he teasingly challenged Zhao King, "Come on, put some strength into it." Zhao King was clearly a little confused, not understanding why Zhao Wu wasn't affected at all after he had been choking him for so long. The feeling of defeat hit him in an instant, and he tightened his grip even harder. To his surprise, Zhao Wu just made a funny face at him. Once he had the upper hand, Zhao Wu didn't want to waste any more time with him. Seeing the nearby fish pond, he decided to take action. He charged forward, pulling Zhao King with him, and they both fell into the pond. In that moment, water splashed everywhere and carp scattered in all directions. Zhao King was shoved under the water, his face completely submerged. Zhao Wu even blew bubbles at him, mocking him. Zhao King couldn't hold it in anymore. He struggled to break free, trying to rise above the surface to catch his breath, but a hand stopped him, pulling him back down to the bottom. Zhao Wu held him close. Zhao King, pressed against him, seemed small, like a little bird nestling against him. But of course, he wasn't quietly staying in his arms. After a moment of struggling, Zhao King finally managed to catch a breath of fresh air, then immediately shoved Zhao Wu, trying to push him into a worse position. Zhao Wu wasn't panicked in the water at all. After all, the ventilator still had 10 minutes left. He was curious to see how long you could hold on. Suddenly, a foot slammed straight into Zhao King's face. Zhao Wu saw the powerful foot coming at him, and all the bubbles he exhaled turned into heart shapes. When he resurfaced, the fish still in his mouth and completely forgotten to spit it out. The woman in front of him, who was looking at him with admiration, was none other than Ying Ji, the one grappling with Zhao King. Zhao Wu was instantly moved. Had this moment come for him? Seeing Zhao King easily taken down by Ying Ji, Zhao Wu couldn't help but stand beside her and clap his hands. "Nice work. Need any help?" Earlier, in the rush of the situation, Ying Ji hadn't noticed she was wearing revealing clothes. But now that things had calmed down, her face turned bright red. She quickly called for Zhao Wu to come over and help. Just as Zhao Wu was about to move forward, his gaze suddenly sharpened. Zhao King was crawling back up from the ground and swinging a punch at Ying Ji. Luckily, Zhao Wu was quick enough to stop him, then turned to mock Zhao King. "That's not how it's done. Sneak attacks aren't something a real man would do." As he spoke, he poked his fingers into Zhao King's eyes, causing Zhao King to clutch his face in pain. "Damn it, you just sneak attacked me too." Zhao Wu quickly denied it, clutching the beautiful woman with a well-formed argument. "I never said I was a man. Plus, I'm just helping my team leader take care of business." Ying Ji, knowing full well that in movies, the good guys often die from talking too much, didn't bother listening to Zhao Wu's nonsense. She snatched the silver handcuffs from his hands, ready to cuff Zhao King. As the two lunatics closed in on him, Zhao King's mind felt like it was being dragged in 10 different directions, his thoughts racing as he frantically searched for a way out. In that life or death moment, he turned and bolted. But when he looked down at the escalator, he saw countless police officers armed with batons chasing after him. Zhao King cursed under his breath, stepping back to find another way out. But no matter where he looked, more and more police officers were rushing toward him. Zhao Wu and Ying Ji quickly caught up. In a moment of desperation, Zhao King didn't hesitate. He jumped straight over the railing and leaped down. At the same time, Zhao Wu was right behind Zhao King. When he saw Zhao King calmly jump over the railing, he assumed there was some kind of platform below, so he recklessly followed suit. However, there was nothing outside the railing, just the skylight of the tall building. Zhao King's jump was clearly a suicide. By the time Zhao Wu realized what was happening, his body was already in free fall, filled with terror. He quickly reached out, trying to grab the railing, but missed and slipped past it. Just when it seemed like he was about to lose his life, a warm and strong hand suddenly grabbed him. Ying Ji shouted in panic and struggled to hold onto Zhao Wu. Her body was also pulled off the railing, and she nearly fell with him. Zhao Wu, seeing that this woman had saved him once again, didn't have time to feel moved before he heard the horrified gasps of the crowd below. He looked down in the direction of the noise and saw that Zhao King had fallen to his death on the first floor lobby. In an instant, Zhao Wu's expression froze. He couldn't understand why Zhao King would rather kill himself than be captured. "Hurry up, I can't hold on much longer." Ying Ji's loud cry snapped Zhao Wu out of his shock. their forehands tightly intertwined, and with a strong pull, Yingji yanked Zhao Wu up. At that moment, he was finally out of danger. Due to the momentum, Zhao Wu stumbled into Yingji's arms. His face was pale as he gasped for air, unsure whether his fear was real, or if he had purposely leaned his head against her hair. The sweet scent of her seemed to bring him some strange sense of comfort. Zhao Wu almost lost his life after catching the criminal who killed his colleague, leaving Yingji terrified and frantic. She hurriedly checked his condition, completely unaware that the bathrobe he was wearing was slowly slipping off. Down below, Zhao Wu's eyes bulged like two giant bells. With such close proximity, how could a young man filled with adrenaline handle it? Sweat immediately began pouring from his forehead. If things continued like this, it was going to get messy. He couldn't help but lean his head into Yingji's chest like a small bird, trying to act as if he felt uncomfortable. His hands, however, couldn't stay still and were moving toward a very inappropriate spot. Just as he was about to act, a loud clink sounded and a pair of silver handcuffs snapped around his wrists. "You are under arrest. Come with us to the police station now." In the police chief's office, Tang Zolong's furious shouts could be heard from a distance. It was a strange situation. He, a member of the criminal investigation team, had been arrested by the public security officers for obstructing public order. "This is unbelievable. You two really have disappointed me," he raged. The two men standing across from him didn't dare to speak. Finally, Yingji couldn't hold back and shot back. "The person we arrested is a suspect in the murder of Ku Ping. He even tried to kill himself by jumping off a building. Don't you find that strange?" But Chief Tang remained firm, refusing to let them get involved. Just as the argument escalated, the door suddenly opened and the city's police chief, Liao, entered, asking for Zhao Wu. Chief Liao slammed the documents down on the desk. "These are the files about Ku Ping's case in the computer. You guys still haven't deleted everything. It's already been forwarded to the administrative department of the city's bureau. Mr. Tang was assigned as the new chief to handle the emergency situation. That's the emergency response mechanism of our police department. There's no conspiracy behind it. So stop investigating Ku Ping. Don't overcomplicate simple matters." Zhao Wu listened, feeling confused and not sure what the main point of his words was. Seeing this, Chief Liao decided to speak more directly. Ku Ping was the head of the criminal division. If someone investigated a major case and silenced her, shouldn't she have been able to prepare for that? And look at how unprepared she was when she was attacked. Did she have any defenses? The two of them exchanged looks, still not fully understanding. Chief Liao continued. "Ku Ping was targeted for revenge. Her father was an undercover cop for the bureau. He worked for many years, helping to take down that criminal organization. But a few years ago, he died from a terminal illness. The father of the crime boss from overseas came back to take revenge for his son. He wanted to kill those who were involved in hurting his son back then. So he hired people like Zhao King to carry out the revenge. Your Chief Zhao was also part of that operation back then. He was the leader. But suddenly, there was evidence accusing him of a serious crime. If it turns out to be true, he'd trigger a chain reaction and he might even lose his position. So the higher-ups sent the secret task force to investigate. Telling you to stop investigating Ku Ping is just a way to shake things up without alerting anyone. You guys actually found Zhao King. I'm honestly amazed by your abilities. Go ahead and take a break. If the task force can't figure this out, I'll definitely come to you for help, okay?" After finally learning the truth, the two of them stood there for a moment, processing everything. They let out a relieved sigh and relaxed into the couch. Zhao Wu glanced at the beautiful girl lying lazily in his arms and, with a mischievous thought, came up with a playful idea. "If it were for you today, I would have ended up as mince meat," he said. "Let me treat you to dinner tonight." The girl remained unfazed. "You should rest and take care of your injuries. Everyone on the team has been worn out lately. How about we go on a little picnic when we get a day off? I know a beautiful spot with great scenery." As soon as she finished speaking, Zhao Wu's eyes lit up with excitement. "That sounds perfect. I'm an expert at navigating the wilderness." Before he could finish, a slipper flew straight into his face. Her temper flared from his inappropriate remark, and she hurried off, her face flushed red with anger. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the picnic. Yingji sat comfortably by the water, her small, fair feet gently stirring the stream. She chatted with Zhao Wu, telling him about the day she met Zhao King. She had just gone to buy a bottle of water and ended up running into him. What a strange coincidence. Who would fall for such a scheme? Zhao Wu was instantly infuriated. The two of them started arguing, and their colleagues nearby, who were used to this, thought nothing of it. It was rare when they weren't bickering. But Yingji wasn't giving up on finding the truth. Zhao Wu finally had to lie, claiming he had a divine friend who told him something. He looked up and saw a red light shining on Yingji, aimed directly at her heart. A sniper's laser. Someone was trying to kill her. Zhao Wu's mind went into overdrive. He yelled, "Get down," and immediately lunged toward Yingji. Two people fell into the water together, creating a large splash. Yingji didn't understand what was happening. She was pushed down under the water and had no idea what Zhao Wu was up to. All she wanted was to get to the surface quickly to breathe. Zhao Wu, on the other hand, was doing everything he could to stop her because he still wasn't sure if the danger had been fully eliminated. Colleagues on the shore rushed over to check the situation. Zhao Wu was surprised to see that they were fine. If there was a sniper, they should have been shot by now. Besides, my sensor didn't pick up anything. In the moment of confusion, Yingji's head broke the surface of the water. Zhao Wu quickly surfaced as well, looking around. Everything seemed normal. Did I misjudge the situation? Just as he was about to lower his guard, a red light streak appeared again. Zhao Wu tensed up, his eyes wide, staring in the direction the light had come from. Damn, he swore, realizing it was just some kid playing around, soaked to the bone. Yingji stormed up to the shore, went back to the tent to change into dry clothes, while Zhao Wu could only sit shirtless outside, grumbling. I don't have anything to change into. At this point, Yingji was still annoyed, so she didn't even want to deal with him. I saw that kid's gun aimed at you. I thought you were in danger. Yingji understood that he had done it to protect her. Slowly, she lifted the tent flap and tossed out her light pink short-sleeved shirt for him to wear. Zhao Wu took the shirt, smelling its soft fragrance, and his face turned bright red. He quickly muttered a thanks, but when he saw it clearly, he froze. How am I supposed to wear this? Suddenly, a phone rang. The police headquarters sent an urgent notification, requesting the entire homicide team to return immediately. Inside the tent, Zhao Wu had been changing clothes for a while, not knowing what was taking so long. Hearing his colleagues' call, he slowly stepped out. His well-defined chest made his short-sleeved shirt look more like a bikini, and his six-pack abs were fully exposed, instantly dazzling his coworkers. As Zhao Wu walked out under their unusual stares, Yingji couldn't help but laugh out loud that the scene shifted to the city bank. At that moment, someone was recounting the events that took place at 12:05 p.m. 5 armed criminals stormed the bank and took control of the staff. After overpowering the bank employees, they didn't rob the cash counters or the vault, but focused solely on the safety deposit boxes. But these vaults are designed for privacy, so no surveillance cameras are installed. Customers are also not allowed to have anyone else present when they deposit or withdraw items. Because of this, the bank has no record of what customers store in these boxes. The bank itself doesn't even know what the robbers took. After hearing the preliminary details of the case, Zhao Wu exclaimed, "The money I have, turns out it's the father of the child who went missing 26 years ago. Mr. Dao was an investor here, so the 200,000 yuan Mr. Dao gave you was deposited here." Zhao Wu quickly checked his deposit, and fortunately, nothing was missing. This amount could easily be exchanged for at least 1 million yuan. Did the robbers not want it? Suddenly, a voice broke through his train of thought. "Why is it that you're everywhere?" The forensic expert, Wang Fi, raised an eyebrow and walked over. Yingji quickly stepped forward to greet her. "Professor Wang, for a robbery like this, wouldn't just a few colleagues from the forensic department be enough? Why didn't you have to come personally?" Wang Fi smiled and pointed to a room, signaling for everyone to come take a look. Driven by curiosity, the two stepped forward and peeked inside. What they saw left them both stunned. In the cluttered room, a vacuum-sealed body was curled up, lifeless. After examining the scene, they concluded that the robbers had first disabled the bank's internal security system. The attack happened during a shift change, meaning they had carefully prepared and understood the bank's internal systems. Yingji and the others carefully searched for the vehicle the robbers had stolen. In the trunk, they found the weapons they had used, but what was surprising was that all the guns were fake. Jiang Jingfeng and the others were impressed by the robbers' courage, and their ability to evade detection was remarkable. Their clothes had extra padding with foam, and their shoes were also modified with thicker soles. It would be very difficult to identify their body features through surveillance alone. Later, they changed clothes, disguised themselves, and scattered to blend into the busy crowds. The set was dispersed, so the police dogs couldn't track them down. Yingji looked at Zhao Wu and silently asked if he had any thoughts on the matter. He just frowned tightly, thinking that the robbers' goal wasn't money, but something else. They clearly targeted the safe boxes. They didn't touch the transaction counters or the vault at all, and they intentionally made the scene chaotic. My old 200,000, light in weight but high in value, was clearly easy to carry, yet they opened the safe and didn't take it. Maybe they deliberately dragged the body out for the police to find. Zhao Wu asked about the identity of the corpse. The subordinate provided the information they had gathered. The deceased is Gong Xiaojin, 73 years old, a retired sanitation worker who went missing 3 years ago. The cause of death was starvation. When this was said, everyone couldn't help but gasp. Is the killer a psychopath? How could they starve someone to death? Zhang Jingfeng continued. The deceased's husband, Duan Daqing, also went missing 7 years ago. The body's storage box was registered under the name Xing Linshi Pingyuan, 23 years old, living in a worker's dormitory at a cotton factory. But this person also disappeared 5 years ago. Once again, everyone furrowed their brows. All of them had disappeared. Currently, there's no direct evidence connecting the robbers to the body. After all, the suitcase with the body was pushed aside, and the safe was only slightly pried open. It's possible that the robbers discovered the body, got startled themselves, didn't have time to pry further, and panickedly ran away. Zhao Wu rolled his eyes, and an idea immediately popped into his head. This was definitely something Huang Mao knew about, so he stretched his hand up and yawned, thinking to himself, haven't had a proper meal all day. He pretended to be hungry, crossed his arms behind his back, and headed off to get some food, completely ignoring Yingji's intense stare that looked like he was about to eat him alive. At a sidewalk restaurant, Zhao Wu, Huang Mao, and a few others raised their glasses and clinked them together. Big brother, it's been a while since you had a drink with us. Zhao Wu waved his hand. Are we investigating the bank robbery? Have you guys heard anything from the criminal world about who might have pulled this off? Huang Mao grinned, showing his teeth. In this day and age, there's no way to pull off a bank robbery anymore, man. With the alarm systems and surveillance these days, one mistake and you're either dead or in prison. Zhao Wu nodded in silence. The details of the case were sensitive, so he couldn't reveal too much to them. He decided to change the subject instead. Keep an eye out for me. Any high-end bars, carry-out joints, or gyms that are up for sale recently, or even a storefront, anything that could be a good business. I've got some money I want to invest, and if it makes sense, I'll make sure you all get your fair share. Huang Mao agreed right away. No problem, big brother. Follow you, and we'll be eating well. All right, let me buy you a drink, Zhao. With that, everyone raised their glasses and drank until they were all completely drunk. The next morning, Zhao Wu, as usual, went to the station. After using the restroom as he stepped out, someone suddenly shoved him against the wall. Just as he was about to yell, he saw who it was and quickly swallowed his words, startled. I thought it was someone else. Oh, it's Captain Miao? Yingji asked seriously last night. Everyone was busy investigating the case. Where did you disappear off to without a word? Zhao Wu coughed twice on purpose, pretending to be sick. I fell into the river yesterday and caught a cold, so I went to see a doctor. Yingji struggled to hide her discomfort as she watched his clumsy acting. Oh, that must have been really uncomfortable. You coughed up blood, right? He said, slapping her back twice, making Zhao Wu dizzy. She quickly begged for forgiveness, saying she was fine now. Yingji, still skeptical, raised an eyebrow. You're fine now. After just one night of drinking at a street food stall, you're all better? Zhao Wu was about to lie, but then gave a small smirk. Well, you really do understand me, he said, pulling her into a hug. Tell me the truth, are you starting to like me? She had never been in a relationship before and had never experienced this kind of playful teasing. Her face turned bright red, and she awkwardly stared into his eyes. After a long pause, she regained her composure and pushed his hands away. Let go. Don't get carried away. If anyone finds out, I'll be the one who gets in trouble. The team leader advised him to stop running around so much. If he wasn't careful, people might think he was out there causing trouble or getting someone pregnant. Zhao Wu heard this and gave a mischievous grin. You don't want me getting someone pregnant, huh? Well, I can, he said, glancing at Yingji's stomach, and the atmosphere became charged with tension. Just then, the door next to them suddenly opened. A subordinate stepped out, looking confused as they saw the two of them acting strangely. Yingji quickly changed the subject, asking about the progress of the case. The subordinate handed her the comparison results for the robber's DNA. Look at this, the subordinate said. It doesn't match any of our data. These robbers have no criminal records. The bank employee in charge of opening accounts added, most people who come to open accounts dress very discreetly to avoid drawing attention. They wear masks and hats, making it almost impossible to tell if they're male or female. Also, since the bank robbery involving the safe deposit box was already made public, no one has come forward to claim it. After hearing this, Zhao Wu walked away arrogantly. No one dared to claim the box back, since everything inside it came from illegal channels. Setting things while hiding it from others, the bank doesn't need to register what the contents are. Illegal items are hidden at home. Maybe one day, the police will check. The safe deposit box service was clearly designed specifically for people like them. Ha ha ha! Looks like I'll have to personally go to the bank and investigate again. But that little thought of his was quickly seen through by Yingji. Isn't it because you have 200,000 there? She really understood me best. Honestly, as soon as I made a move, she knew exactly what I was up to. Before he could finish his sentence, Yingji kicked him out without any mercy. He made it to the galaxy, likely a metaphor for a place of security, easily retrieved his 200,000 and felt a bit more at ease. With that done, it was time to focus on the main issue. Xing Linshi Pinyin, the person who went missing 5 years ago, had certainly been investigated by the police. So why didn't they look into the safe deposit box with the body in it back then? Through a conversation with a bank employee, he learned that the list of registered safe deposit boxes was only available internally to the bank, and that other branches had this same type of box. Zhao Wu seemed to have an idea and immediately showed his police badge, demanding a list of all the safe deposit boxes registered at their bank. There were too many names, making it like searching for a needle in a haystack. So, Zhao Wu decided to lock in on Xing Linshi Pinyin to see if she had any other safe deposit boxes under her name. With the bank employee's help, they found out that under her name, there were actually 2 more boxes just like the one with the dead body in it. They were both the largest size available. This result clearly has some taboo elements. Zhao Wu tried to act composed and asked more about Gong Xiaozhen, the name of the deceased. There's no record under this name. Next, she looked into Duan Daqing, Gong Xiaozhen's husband, and found 2 large safes. As expected, just like Zhao Wu had guessed, both safes contained dead bodies, and the forensic results were already available. The other 4 victims also starved to death. The methods of killing are exactly the same. Even the plastic bags used to wrap the bodies are from the same brand. The bodies had been placed in the safes at different times, ranging from 7 years ago to 3 years ago. The victims were of different genders, ages, and occupations, with no common links between them. Furthermore, there was no way to guarantee that there weren't other victims still out there. The time between when each victim disappeared when the case was reported and when they were stuffed into the safes was about 24 to 27 days. That's plenty of time to starve someone to death. Zhao Wu walked over to Ying Ji. "Don't you think this case is similar to Lai Dan's dismemberment case?" she asked, pointing with a pen. "If someone wants to kill, one clean cut is enough, but starving someone to death involves so many risks. Even so, they still chose to starve them. Doesn't that look like revenge?" Zhao Wu was talking to himself, completely unaware that Ying Ji was glaring at him. "I don't know what kind of risks the culprit is taking. All I know is things are about to take a serious turn." Zhao Wu became so startled that he took a few steps back. In doing so, he accidentally tugged at Ying Ji's collar. Embarrassed, he immediately helped adjust it back in place. "No one saw anything. Are you trying to be funny?" Ying Ji gave him a light flick on the arm, making him wince in surprise. "But honestly, you made a good point. If we can find a common link between these people, that's where the breakthrough in the case will come." "Exactly. Now go to the infirmary and get your hand checked. You were way too careless. Look at what happened." Zhao Wu stood there visibly annoyed. "I was just trying to make you laugh, and now you're scolding me." Just then, a phone rang. When he answered it, he heard the distressed voice of his ex-girlfriend. "Can you come help me?" "Bring some money." At a high-end Western restaurant, Tao Jiao was in a heated argument with a waiter. Zhao Wu entered silent and composed. He calmly took out a pair of silver handcuffs and restrained Tao Jia, flashing his police badge. "This individual is under investigation. Please stand aside." Without reacting to the murmurs and glances from the surrounding guests, he walked out confidently. Tao Jiao was completely taken in by his smooth, skilled moves. "Do you often get away with things like this? You seem pretty used to it," she asked. "Isn't it you, though? Who else could eat a meal worth more than 8,000 yuan?" He shot back. Hearing this, she was fuming. Her fiancé, Zhang Ji, had been cheating on her, so she decided to grab a bottle of expensive wine and swank his card clean. "How do you feel about that?" "Huh?" he challenged him. But to her surprise, he said his card was lost. Zhao Wu, hearing this, had no words. She raised her hand and said, "Well, can you take this off first?" But Zhao Wu had forgotten his keys at home. "I'll have to go back to my place," he said. She looked a little awkward at this. "What's wrong? Are you scared?" he teased. Her face turned red, and she gripped her stomach tightly. After a long pause, she finally admitted, "Actually, I almost couldn't hold it in earlier. I need to use the bathroom." Reluctantly, Zhao Wu agreed to take care of that first. After a while, with the sound of running water, Tao Jia finally felt relieved. Zhao Wu, though facing away, was still tangled up in his own thoughts. The tension in the air finally eased. The two of them stepped out from the cramped bathroom, Tao Jia following behind, clearly embarrassed. At that moment, Zhao Wu just wanted to get home and take off the handcuffs. Once home, Zhao Wu searched everywhere but couldn't find his keys. Meanwhile, she had wrapped her arms around his and refused to let go, casually pulling the bottle of wine out of her bag. "Officer Zhao," she said with a playful tone, "how about we drink this bottle of wine worth over 7,000 yuan?" Zhao Wu just heard her thoughts and immediately became more relaxed. The two of them said they were going to do something, and after a few rounds of drinks, it was clear that the younger woman was drunk. Zhao Wu was a bit more excited from drinking as well, his gaze slowly becoming dazed as he looked at Tao Jia. Isn't it a waste to just drink here when there's such a beautiful woman, he thought. He then picked her up and carried her toward the bed. The woman instinctively struggled a bit, clearly still wanting to keep drinking, and grabbed his shirt to stop him from leaving. She didn't even realize how seductive she looked in that position. Zhao Wu stared at the beauty beneath him, and suddenly, dark memories flooded back. In his past life, his passionate and tumultuous love with Tao Jia was unforgettable, deeply etched in his heart. But it ended with his own death. She probably wasn't the same Tao Jia anymore. Even though fate had given him another chance, something about it just felt off. Why was he thinking about Captain Miao? Suddenly, a loud knocking came at the door. Zhao Wu, who had been fast asleep, was startled awake. A familiar voice shouted from outside. Zhao Wu opened the door. The shout instantly pulled him out of his daze. He recognized that voice too well. Why is Captain Miao here? I see you. Open the door, or I'll break it down myself. Zhao Wu slowly poked his head out. What's going on, Captain Miao? Yingji didn't say a word and shoved him aside. I'm so tired, move out of the way. I need to sleep. A subordinate followed and explained, we've been working overtime for 2 nights straight without rest. The duty room smells awful. Since your place is nearby, we came to crash here for a bit. Zhao Wu was trying to figure out how to turn them down when Yingji barged in and walked straight to the bed. Upon seeing Tao Jia unconscious on the bed, her clothes in disarray, and Zhao Wu still wearing handcuffs, he couldn't help but comment, well, Zhao Wu, your taste is something else. At this moment, Zhao Wu stood frozen in place, completely at a loss for words. His mind was racing at full speed in panic. He thought to himself, I was wrong. I didn't do anything. We just had a drink together. Yingji pouted in frustration, her face turning from green to red, then from red to purple. She didn't want to pay attention to him anymore and pulled subordinate outside. This place is too dirty. Not even a ghost would want to sleep here. But at that moment, subordinate was so sleepy that she couldn't bear and move any longer. She really didn't want to walk anymore. Zhao Wu realized that no matter how much he explained, it wouldn't work, so he decided to change tactics and take a step back to move forward. Captain Miao, I finally understand now. You're jealous, aren't you? As soon as Yingji heard this, she stopped in her tracks. It's so obvious. You secretly like me, and now you're angry. Because you saw another woman in my house, right? That's why you want to leave, isn't it? Faced with Zhao Wu's shameless twist of the truth, Yingji was speechless. Furious, she pulled subordinate back and went inside. There's no one here, so we'll sleep here. If you want to sleep with someone, go ahead. But if you make any noise and disturb our sleep, we'll throw you out. Zhao Wu grinned, looking at the woman before him. It seemed that Captain Miao wasn't immune to the rule. Whenever she met Zhao Wu, trouble was sure to follow. Little did he know, Yingji's thoughts were a world apart. She tightly gripped subordinate's arm and silently cursed that jerk Zhao Wu. The last thing I'd be is jealous of him. The peaceful morning was interrupted by the sound of birds singing. Yingji stretched. Then a voice rang out. Are you ladies awake? The subordinate woke up, looked around, and realized the person standing there wasn't the head nurse, but the one Zhao had helped ride a camel to catch a thief last time. Tao Jia also recognized her as a colleague of Zhao Wu. So, who is that person? The subordinate quickly introduced, she's our team leader. After they finished exchanging introductions, they looked around and realized there was no sign of Zhao Wu. Where could he be? At that same moment, at the scene of the bank robbery, Zhao Wu felt a chill run down his back. The women were all sleeping soundly, and he had to investigate the case on his own. He looked at the ring on his finger and thought, what could have been so valuable that even a diamond ring was just left behind here? One of his colleagues explained, I heard the city sent a special team to look into the bank's deposit case. They don't care about the robbery at all. The thieves pried open 17 boxes in total, and aside from the body and the items that have already been recovered, only these 3 are left without an owner. Also, the contents of these 3 boxes have all been taken out and thoroughly searched. If the thieves really took something, it's probably from one of these boxes. The gold, silver, jewelry, and gems in these boxes would easily be worth at least 50,000 yuan, and the watches and designer bags together are worth several million yuan. These things could easily set someone up for life. Why would they take them? These 3 boxes belong to new owners. Zhao Wu frowned. Could it be that they all belong to the same person? But the forensic colleague pointed out that there weren't any fingerprints on the items, and the boxes have been opened repeatedly, more than 10 times over the past few months. Zhao Wu glanced around, then said, I know why the owner hasn't come to claim the items. Lately, this place has been targeted by the police. All of this stuff is dirty. We've run into an underground black market. At that moment, the phone rang. Huang Mao sent the latest news. After that, the two of them headed to a gym. The big muscular guy sighed and said, my irresponsible father owes a huge gambling debt. I had no choice but to grit my teeth and sell it off. Huang Mao leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Brother Zhao, I found a transfer fee of just 2.5 million yuan for you. Isn't that a great deal? It's not only a great deal, but it's also very lucky. The owner is truly a filial son." Zhao Wu praised him verbally, but inside, he was suspicious. Could there be some dispute here? This price seems way too low. There's definitely something off. So he stood up, made an excuse to step outside, and immediately contacted Zhang Jingfeng. After investigating, he found out that the gym made at least 700,000 yuan in revenue each year, had no bad history or property disputes, and had signed a 5-year contract with the shopping center, with over 3 years left on the lease. On the surface, everything seemed fine. But what about behind the scenes? Suddenly, an alarm went off. It was a hidden motion detector, and it made several beeping sounds. There must be at least a dozen cameras inside. Is it really necessary to use such advanced alarm equipment in a place like this? Could there be a safe box or something hidden inside? He quickly took out a device to see through the hidden sensors, hoping to uncover whatever shady things might be going on inside. At this moment, he heard footsteps and a beautiful woman dressed in light clothing walked in. Her figure was so seductive that his eyes widened in surprise. He wasn't sure how well the X-ray machine would work on her. Let me test it on this woman first. As soon as he activated it, he couldn't help but curse, "Holy shit, this system even has this kind of coverage feature." Feeling bored, Zhao Wu quickly dismissed the thought and focused back on his work. The room seemed to be filled with display shelves, and there were plenty of boxes piled up on the floor. What exactly was inside them? At that moment, Zhang Jingfeng sent a message. "I've figured it out, the truth behind the people who frequently open the safe boxes." Zhao Wu carefully took note and continued observing the situation in the room. However, since the X-ray machine wasn't very effective, his face was practically pressed against the wall, and he still couldn't see clearly. His odd posture caught the attention of a woman with a rather curvy figure. "Hey, what are you doing?" she asked. Without looking up, Zhao Wu replied, "I'm working. Move aside and stop interfering with other people's business." The girl clearly had no intention of letting it go. "Really? Do you want me to call security?" While they were talking, a man came out of the room, holding a cardboard box. Zhao Wu took a closer look and recognized him. Wasn't this the guy who came to deliver items to the safe box at the bank? The man was holding the box very carefully, which meant whatever was inside was probably highly confidential. The people in the room were rushing to pack things up, clearly trying to move some shady stuff. There was no way he was going to let them succeed. At a crucial moment, Zhao Wu looked at the younger woman in front of him and quickly came up with a plan. "Have you ever heard of a martial art that has been lost for a long time?" As he spoke, he moved closer to her, causing an accidental collision with the cardboard box behind them. Items tumbled out, including paintings, calligraphy, and designer handbags, clearly valuable. The noise was so loud that it caught the attention of a woman from another room. She was about to scold him when Zhao Wu stepped forward and asked, "Are all these things yours, or are they stolen?" The woman froze, her eyes wide with fear. Zhao Wu, seeing her reaction, pulled her into the room. "Hey, let's go inside and talk," he said. Before she could react, Zhao Wu closed the door behind him and locked it. "You all stay here for a moment. Don't worry, I'll come back to take you home soon," he told the others, then called for backup. In the gym on the 5th floor of the central building, I found the black market crew. The younger woman, still waiting to confront him, overheard the conversation, but didn't dare speak up. After handling things there, Zhao Wu returned to the bank robbery scene. Ying Ji sized him up from head to toe. "What disaster did you run into now?" Zhao Wu grimaced. "You all showed up too late. How could I handle 4 people on my own?" Despite seeing Zhao Wu's obvious struggle, Ying Ji didn't show any sympathy. Zhao Wu, frustrated, turned to the black market boss. "Listen, you really messed with the wrong people. All your stuff is from criminals. Now you're in trouble, and you'll have to take responsibility. You should double-check everything you've lost. Once we catch the real thieves, it'll help reduce your sentence." Of course, Big Sister understands this point. After carefully checking her things, she noticed that a leather-bound notebook, worth more than 4 million yuan, was missing. But compared to all the gold, silver, and jewels, was it really worth taking such a big risk for just 4 million yuan? A subordinate brought the latest news. At the long-distance bus station, they had spotted a middle-aged man who closely resembled the robbers from the surveillance footage. His ears and cheekbones had an unnatural shine, suggesting he might have been wearing makeup. Zhao Wu muttered to himself as he walked outside. Disguising himself to rob, after barely escaping, why didn't he change his clothes before taking a bus to another city? This guy must be out of his mind. The subordinate explained that the man bought a ticket to a different city 3 hours away, but it was already dark, and Zhao Wu, stifling a yawn, just wanted to go home and sleep. Ying Ji glanced at the time and told the subordinate to go rest. She thought to herself that this matter was important, so she decided to go check it out herself. Just as Zhao Wu was about to leave, Ying Ji stopped him. Don't go. You drive me there. Zhao Wu looked at her under the moonlight. She appeared incredibly alluring and his sleepiness vanished immediately. He gently stroked her cheek and whispered, all right, but is it just the two of us? Then the two of them walked to the car. For safety, the younger sister decided to sit in the back seat. But when she opened the door, she was surprised to see the seat piled with all sorts of junk. It seemed like Zhao Wu had prepared this in advance. Seeing this, he smiled smugly and said, why don't you sit in the front seat? Afraid I'm up to something bad? The younger sister played along, saying, of course, I'm terrified. Please, Mr. Zhao, spare me. Is this what you wanted me to say? Hearing this, Zhao Wu felt a wave of satisfaction. The way she was begging him made him feel a bit tender toward her. Suddenly, a gun was pointed directly at his mouth, making him panic. Hey, calm down. What are you doing? Zhao Wu asked, surprised. Yingji calmly put the gun away and said, what are you scared of? It's just a fake bullet. It's to teach you a lesson about being a jerk. Zhao Wu was left speechless. This girl wasn't someone you could mess with. After more than 2 hours of driving, Zhao Wu spoke up, we're almost off the highway. At this point, Zhao Wu was so sleepy, he could barely keep his eyes open, while Yingji, sitting in the passenger seat, was sleeping soundly. Looking at her alluring neck, Zhao Wu's thoughts began to wander. Just then, a bright flash of light caught his attention, and he focused on the car ahead. He pressed the gas pedal and sped up to follow it. Then, he saw a girl in the car ahead roll down her passenger window and casually raise her middle finger. Zhao Wu secretly cursed to himself, is this crazy person sick? Then, the two cars swerved in an S pattern on the highway, making Zhao Wu dizzy. They were daring enough to act like this on a freeway, and yet they still didn't back off. Instead, they stuck their heads out the window and yelled insults, constantly provoking him. This successfully angered Zhao Wu, and in response, he quickly pulled out the gun from his waistband. The drivers had no idea how close they were to danger. They only realized what was happening when they saw the gun in Zhao Wu's hand, and their faces went pale with fear. In that moment, just when things seemed on the edge of spiraling out of control, Yingji woke up from his sleep. Seeing that Zhao Wu was about to fire, he hurried to stop him. But in the end, he could prevent the bullet from firing. The driver of the car in front swerved desperately, but the cars still collided. Yingji's face turned red with anger, and he snatched the gun away. Zhao Wu chased after the car, shouting, are you crazy? The bullets are limited. Why are you shooting aimlessly like that? We're in big trouble now. As Yingji got closer, the people in the other car reeked of alcohol. Zhao Wu looked them over for a moment, then asked, how much have these guys been drinking? He eagerly started rummaging through their trunk. These people looked like troublemakers, and even though they were drunk and driving, Zhao Wu knew he couldn't just shoot without cause. When Yingji saw what Zhao Wu was pulling out, he started to wonder, how did Zhao Wu know there were illegal items in the car? Zhao Wu patted his chest and swore, Captain Miao, believe it or not, I can not only find drugs, but I can also uncover clues about the bank robbery from these guys. Yingji didn't buy Zhao Wu's wild claims. Are you still talking nonsense? I think you're just asking to get slapped. Zhao Wu grinned mischievously. If I find something, you can punch me in the face with your mouth. After that, Zhao Wu successfully subdued the group and showed them photos of the robbers for identification. But after looking at the pictures for a long time, no one could recognize them. Initially, Zhao Wu thought the robbers were local, but it turned out he had been wrong about that. Yingji saw this and rolled up her sleeves, ready to hit him. Zhao Wu quickly stopped her, saying, it's fine if you don't recognize me. Hand over all your phones and tell them to unlock their screens. Yingji was confused. She didn't understand what this guy was up to. The local police had already taken their people away, and they were ready to cooperate at any time. After a brief conversation, Zhao Wu urged her to leave, saying he had more important things to do. Yingji stared at him, not understanding why he was holding the phones of the thugs. What did he want with their phones? Was there some kind of evidence on them? Zhao Wu, with a mischievous look, replied, the important thing is that when you lose, get ready to kiss my left cheek or my right cheek. As soon as he said that, Yingji's anger flared up again. Zhao Wu, seeing this, wisely backed off, saying, all right, enough of that. Let's go and send the photos of the bank robbers to these guys' group chat. But if the robbers saw the photos, wouldn't that be like disturbing the grass and alerting the snake? Zhao Wu wasn't worried. The city's wanted notice has already gone out. What's there to be afraid of? Don't underestimate the power of this group of friends. These guys are all from the underworld. Who knows, someone might know someone. I don't believe that with so many people, we won't find a lead. Yingji thought this made sense. Zhao Wu, seeing that she was buying into it, pushed further. So, when you lose, how about we kiss? Just one little kiss. She really knows how to coordinate her moves this time. Zhao, you're truly impressive. Then close your eyes. I can give you everything right now. Although Zhao Wu couldn't wait any longer, he still held back. I will take advantage of you for no reason. Besides, every time you hit me, I can't trust you. Look at my face, full of innocence. This time, it's real. It's just that your appearance earlier was too tempting. Zhao Wu couldn't control himself anymore. So, you're infatuated with me too, aren't you? I thought this kid was smarter, but turns out I'd overestimated you. Without any more hesitation, Yingji threw a punch straight at his face. Once they got to the hotel, Zhao Wu rushed to the lobby to speak with the young receptionist. My wife is mad. I need to talk to her gently tonight. She'll be here soon. Just tell her there's only one room left with a big bed. As he said this, he handed her some tip money. The receptionist seemed a little nervous, unsure whether agreeing would get her in trouble with the boss. I think you're really pretty, so you must have a boyfriend. If you two argued, what do you want him to come apologize to you? My wife is pregnant and I don't want her to keep making a scene. The receptionist hesitated, but finally softened a bit, still nervous. Zhao Wu sighed helplessly. I booked an extra room through you guys. Is that okay? Please just do it. After a bit of pleading, the receptionist agreed. When Yingji found out there was only one room left, she felt a little down. But feeling exhausted and it being so late, she decided to just let it go. Zhao Wu pretended to feel embarrassed. Is this okay? Yingji couldn't be bothered to respond to him, so Zhao Wu happily went ahead. All right then, I got the room key. In his heart, he was overjoyed. Tonight, he finally get to sleep in the same bed as Captain Miao. Looking at Yingji's alluring curves, Zhao Wu was absolutely thrilled. What would you do if you and a female coworker who secretly likes you end up in the same room? Of course, you try out every position. Of course, this was just his fantasy. His satisfied expression caught the attention of his coworker. This bed is so big, the two of us could sleep here. After a long day, it would feel great to just relax right now. Facing Zhao Wu's intense gaze, she playfully propped her chin up and said, Officer Zhao, should I shower first or will you? Her rare softness made Zhao Wu lose control. What if we shower together? Suddenly, she remembered something. Oh, wait, I think I left my bag at the front desk. I'll go get it. This was the perfect chance to show off his chivalry, so Zhao Wu couldn't let it slip. Wait, I'll go get it for you. As he spoke, she pulled him back, whispered in his ear, hurry up and come back fast. Her words made Zhao Wu so excited he felt like he might lose his teeth, rushing off to grab the bag. But as soon as he stepped out the door, he sensed something wasn't quite right. Wait a minute, she definitely didn't bring him back. Open the door. Zhao Wu desperately tried to open the door, but there was no response. Realizing he had a universal key that could unlock the door, he knew that even if he opened it, the woman would just kick him out anyway. That would be a waste of time. In the end, he decided it was better to go sleep in the room he had rented next door. Around midnight, the door slowly creaked open and a pair of feet stepped into the room. The young woman was fast asleep, completely naked, lying on the bed. Zhao Wu grinned triumphantly. He got up, took a step forward, jumped onto the bed, slid under the blanket, and gently lifted the sheet covering her chest, eager to enjoy the view underneath. But what met his eyes was a dried-up corpse with ribs sticking out. The sight shocked him to the core. He screamed and instantly woke up from the dream. Just then, his phone rang. Zhao Wu picked up Thug's phone. A man named Mr. Lai had sent several messages saying he'd spotted one of the robbers at Goat Tripe Diner. As soon as Zhao Wu read the messages, his mind started spinning with a new plan. Early the next morning, he arrived at the diner and got completely lost in the delicious food, unable to stop eating. Only Yingji remembered why they were there. She was showing the restaurant owner pictures of the robbers, asking her to identify them. Isn't that Cheng Gong for the cultural center? She said, glancing toward an old man eating nearby. He's with the theater troupe too. Hey, Mr. Ding, come over and help out. The police want to ask you about Cheng Gong. Unexpectedly, the moment the old man heard the word police, his face went pale with fear. He dropped his bowl and took off running like a scared rabbit. Zhao Wu didn't hesitate for a second. He dashed after him, still clutching a drumstick, unwilling to let it go. As he ran, the perfectly curved chicken leg flew from his hand and landed right in Yingji's goat tripe suit, splashing it all over her. You jerk, are you blind? She yelled. Meanwhile, Zhao Wu was just about to catch the old man when suddenly a bare foot flew past him from behind. It kicked the bald-headed Cheng Gong square in the face, knocking him down and pinning him in place. Nice work, Miao Yingji, Zhao Wu said with a big grin, noticing she was now completely soaked. How come you're sweating so much after running just a little? Give the handcuffs. Cuff him. Without hesitation, the young woman snapped the silver handcuffs onto Zhao Wu's wrists. Zhao Wu stood there stunned. You're arresting a thief. Why are you cuffing me? She huffed, laughed lightly, and tossed her jacket over his head. Think carefully. What do you think I'm doing right now? Zhao Wu was confused. How was he supposed to know that the chicken leg he'd thrown had splashed goat stew all over her? But at that moment, instead of being angry, he actually kind of enjoyed the feeling of being restrained. He slowly leaned closer to her and murmured, telling her how good the scent of goat meat on her clothes smelled. She greeted him with a swift, merciless kick. "Move it. Isn't it thanks to you we're in this mess?" On the way back, Zhao Wu drove proudly. Of course, the cuffs were off. He still had to drive for her, after all. Yingji was fully focused on the case and couldn't be bothered to pay attention to Zhao Wu. "You were the ones who robbed the city bank, weren't you?" The old man claimed he didn't know anything. Zhao Wu had expected that. He figured once they got back, he'd run a lie detector test and see if the man kept quiet. Just then, Zhao Wu noticed a car that had been tailing them. He was about to shake it off when suddenly another car pulled up beside them. Surrounded front and back, there was only one option left: break through. But that car came up so fast that the rear still got sideswiped. With a loud crash, their car spun out on the road. The whole vehicle shook violently from the impact. Zhao Wu struggled to keep control of the steering wheel. Just as he managed to catch his breath, the other car kept coming, refusing to back off. He tightened his seatbelt. Zhao Wu slammed on the gas again, swerving to avoid another hit. What followed was a breathless, high-speed chase down the road. In the backseat, Yingji calmly pulled out a gun. "Who's really the cop here? We're the ones being chased around like rats," Zhao Wu said, clearly overwhelmed. Then something happened that Zhao Wu would never forget. Yingji leaned halfway out the car window. Zhao Wu was completely stunned. "Damn, you're about to fall out. Can you think for a second before doing something like that?" he shouted, reaching out to pull her back in. But all he managed to grab was her pants. Her upper body was still outside the car. His face turned red with panic. Hanging halfway out the moving car, Yingji raised her arm, aimed at the windshield of the car chasing them, and fired. The glass shattered with a loud crack. The driver behind them panicked, lost control, and the car flipped over on the side of the road. After wrapping things up, Yingji turned around. Zhao Wu was still tugging at her pants. She shouted at Zhao Wu, "Damn it! What are you doing? Have you ever seen someone rescue a person by pulling your pants down?" No doubt about it, you totally had it coming. He quickly covered his cheek, looking both hurt and wronged. "Mio Yingji, can you be reasonable for once? I pulled you back because I was afraid you'd get thrown out. I saved your life. You could at least be a little grateful instead of injuring your rescuer." Not wanting to hear another word from him, she turned and walked away. But Zhao Wu, always good at comforting himself, thought, "At least I saw something I wasn't supposed to, so I guess that makes us even." He mumbled to himself, and of course, she heard that too. She instantly pulled out her gun, pointed it right at his head, and snapped, "Zhao Wu, what exactly did you see?" After having a gun pointed at his face more times than he could count, Zhao Wu was starting to get a little angry. He opened his mouth to say something, but right then, a loud noise interrupted him. The guy they had just captured was trying to drive away. They were so close that Yingji spun around and fired a shot. It hit the car's tire dead on. The vehicle immediately deflated like a balloon, swerved a bit, and came to a stop in the middle of the road. As Zhao Wu walked over, he muttered, "You're seriously insane. You still had a bullet in that gun. I'd almost die because of you." After restraining the suspects, Zhao Wu counted them, only 4 robbers, but there were supposed to be 5. One bank robber was still missing. Yingji grabbed the blonde guy and started interrogating him. He admitted to robbing the bank, but he claimed he didn't know where the missing guy was. Yingji kept beating him until he burst into tears. Only then did he finally give up the location of the last man. The two of them opened the trunk of the car and were shocked to find a man tightly bound and barely conscious. Zhao Wu helped him up and saw that he was still breathing. This is the guy who ran away at the long-distance bus station. Now all 5 robbers were accounted for. But why had they tied up one of their own and locked him in the trunk? Was there some kind of falling out among them? Yingji looked at Zhao Wu in confusion as he searched the robbers. She had no idea what he was looking for, but then he even pulled down Mr. Ding's pants. His style was truly surprising. In the end, Zhao Wu actually found something, a bag full of ration coupons the bank had reported missing. Yingji slowly began to understand. These people hadn't been chasing Mr. Ding to save him. They were after the coupons he was hiding. Zhao Wu walked over with a grin. Talk about a coincidence, right? Lucky for us, the first guy we caught was the one hiding the coupons. That made the rest of them come straight to us. But you still remember the deal we made earlier, don't you? You lost. Time to keep your end of the bargain. As he spoke, Zhao Wu puckered his lips expecting a kiss. But instead, what he got was a hot bullet, scaring him so badly his mood crashed instantly. On the way back from escorting the robbers, the team was buzzing with chatter, trying to figure out who had the skills to pull it off. None of them could have guessed that the 2 heroes of the day were now arguing over a seat like a pair of kids. "Mio Yingji, are you trying to crush me? Seriously, don't you feel the least bit bad for treating you like this?" Yingji closed her eyes and ignored him completely. Just look at you. No gratitude at all. I looked out for you the whole way. I even saved your life. That should be worth at least a thank you, don't you think? And what about her bet? I'm not even asking for much here. But before Zhao Wu could finish his sentence, Yingji suddenly leaned over, falling asleep right against him. Her head rested on his shoulder, and he stiffened slightly, unsure what to do. She's already asleep, just like that? He murmured, adjusting his posture awkwardly to make her more comfortable. He hesitated, about to say more, when a subordinate suddenly called out, Officer Zhao, Captain Miao, you both must be exhausted, huh? The subordinate turned around and saw the two of them fast asleep. Zhang Jingfeng quickly stepped in to help smooth things over. This was a major bank robbery case, and you two managed to catch the culprits in just half a day. You probably haven't had a second to rest. Then the subordinate asked about the case. Why did all five of them go through the trouble of stealing just that stamp collection? And why did they tie up one of their own and stuff him in the trunk? Zhang Jingfeng also stepped up to explain the person who was handcuffed is Fang Yu, the mastermind behind this robbery. Back in high school, he secretly sold his father's rare bone fragment stamp collection to buy a video game console. When his father found out, he completely lost it. That stamp collection was worth enough to buy a house, and this ungrateful son destroyed it all. His father already had a heart condition, and the shock pushed him over the edge. He died from the anger. Over the years, Fang Yu had been trying to track down that stamp collection. Eventually, he heard it was being kept in a safe deposit box at a bank in City Key, hidden there by smugglers. He brought together 4 people from the theater troupe where he worked. All of them were buried in gambling debt. Fang Yu got his hands on the bank's blueprints, the ship schedules, and a diagram of the vault. He told them the stamp collection was worth tens of millions of yuan. Since he seemed so well prepared, the others believed him. They disguised themselves, broke into the bank, took control of the command center, and managed to retrieve the rare stamp collection from the vault. Then they opened all the other vaults to throw the police off track. But unexpectedly, one of the vaults contained a dead body. It was vacuum sealed, and the moment they saw it, they panicked like they had opened a cursed box. After escaping from the bank, they tore up the stamp catalog and threw it into the sewer. They split the stamps and scattered, blending into the crowd thanks to their disguises. According to the plan, they would clean up and meet at the getaway car to drive off together. But Fang Yu never showed up. The others got suspicious and checked, only to find out that the stamp collection they had was worth just 2 million yuan. The most valuable stamps were already taken by Fang Yu. They barged into Fang Yu's house and found him calmly lounging at home. When they forced him to talk, Fang Yu finally admitted he had taken an earlier long-distance bus back, then gone to his father's grave to burn the stamp collection for him. The brood was so angry they could have exploded. In the end, they decided to sell the stamps somewhere else. But this crazy guy, Fang Yu, wouldn't let it go. So they tied him up and stuffed him into the trunk. While they were taking turns getting out of the car to grab some goat soup, they happened to run right into the 2 of them. Zhang Jingfeng spoke while glancing over his shoulder. He looked back at Zhao Wu, who had been pretending to sleep earlier, but had now actually dozed off. The only problem was their position. It looked a bit awkward. Yingji was resting her face on a rather sensitive part of Zhao Wu. Just as subordinate was about to turn around to check what was going on, Zhang Jingfeng quickly stopped her. Kids shouldn't be watching this. The less you know, the better. Still, if we follow these 2 super detectives, is there any case we won't be able to solve? From now on, we'll just eat well and live easy. Right then, subordinate's phone rang. The special investigation team reported they just found another vacuum-sealed corpse. The ringing woke Yingji. She slowly opened her eyes, her body's sensory system gradually coming back online. She felt something heavy on her butt. She turned her head and saw Zhao Wu's huge hand resting right on her backside. Her face instantly turned pale with rage, and she punched him straight in the face. The young man was fast asleep when he was suddenly jolted awake, looking around in confusion, thinking they'd already arrived at the station. But instead, he turned and saw Yingji beside him, glaring at him angrily while wiping her mouth. "What are you wiping?" Zhao Wu looked down and realized his pants were soaking wet. "Holy shit, Miao Yingji, you drooled all over my pants while you were sleeping." Her face turned red with embarrassment and anger. "Are you looking to die?" Zhao Wu quickly shot back, trying to defend himself. "I spilled goat soup on your shirt, and you drool on my pants. Now we're even." But her fist still landed squarely on his face, and he ended up being called a pervert on top of it. When they got back to the police station, Zhao Wu could already hear someone shouting from a distance. It was his colleague. "We were the first ones to investigate the dead body found in the bank vault. Why aren't you giving us the new info on the victim?" She was facing off against Wang Sheng Yao, the team leader of the newly arrived Special Investigation Unit. Wang Sheng Yao replied confidently, "This case is now under our Special Investigation Unit. Higher-ups assigned it to us. Your Division R just needs to cooperate. No need to ask questions. Zhao Wu let out a helpless sigh, shook his head, and walked away. But Ying Ji isn't someone who backs down easily. When Wang Sheng Yao met Ying Ji, he immediately switched to playing the victim. I thought my colleague explained things clearly enough already. But team leader Miao still showed up demanding case files. Wasn't she just making things difficult for them? Or maybe she was doing it on purpose, trying to show who's boss to outsiders like them. We're so scared, he added sarcastically. Ying Ji forced a smile. We didn't expect the bank robbery case to be solved so quickly. We had some free time, so we thought we'd lend a hand. Since team leader Miao seems so interested, how about we make a bet? If we lose, I'll take 3 punches from you in front of everyone. But if we solve the case first, you'll have to respectfully call us senior. And from then on, you'll be in charge of serving tea and water, team leader Miao. As soon as she said that, everyone burst out laughing. Infuriated, Ying Ji clenched her teeth and raised her fist, ready to give her a piece of her mind. Zhao Wu quickly stepped in to stop her and said, Team Leader Wang, you better get ready to take a beating. Team Leader Miao packs a mean punch. If she accidentally kills you, we'll make sure to send you a nice funeral wreath. As he spoke, he looked her up and down. What a shame. So pretty, and dying young would really be a waste. The group roared with laughter again, while Wang Sheng Yao could only storm off in anger. Ying Ji shook Zhao Wu's hand off. You agree with her that easily? Can't you see she's setting a trap for us? Zhao Wu explained, even if we lose, I'm the one who will be humiliated serving tea and water, not you. Ying Ji rolled her eyes. Isn't it the same whether you do it or I do? Zhao Wu grinned smugly. Aw, are you worried about me? Just say it if you are. I worry about you too. As he spoke, he pulled out a USB stick. While you two were arguing, I took a quick look around their place. Got all the files right here. Ying Ji thanked him with a solid punch to the gut. Not bad. Looks like you're actually useful for once. In the evening, the 4 of them went to a karaoke bar to celebrate. Cheers to Zhao for cracking that tough case. The serious kidnapping and murder case had been solved, and Zhao had just been promoted to leader of Team A. Jiang Jingfeng joked, you must have gotten a fat bonus this time, huh? I bet it's at least 200,000 yuan. Zhao Wu, clearly excited, replied, tonight's on me. Drink as much as you want. No one goes home sober. After singing their hearts out, Zhao suddenly turned to Ying Ji and called out, Team A's done performing. Now it's Team B's turn. What are you going to sing to celebrate my promotion, huh? Let me think. How about a pole dance? I had a suggestion. Ying Ji frowned slightly, but not wanting to kill a mood, she clenched her teeth and played along. She slowly walked toward the pole, gracefully spun around it, and shot a sultry look at Zhao Wu. Come over here, she said. Zhao Wu, overjoyed, leaped up and wrapped his arms tightly around her waist. What's this? Team leader Miao wants to dance with me? She gave him a sly smile, turned him around, and gently stroked his face with a teasing look. What if I said no? The next second, there was a loud click. Zhao Wu was handcuffed to the pole. Without another word, team leader Miao strutted off, leaving him fuming and chained there for over an hour. Even when the party ended, Zhao Wu was still frustrated. That damn Miao Ying Ji. One day, I'll take her down. Yeah. As soon as he stepped outside, he saw Zhang Jingfeng arguing with someone. What's wrong with you guys? You bumped into someone and didn't even apologize, he said angrily. The other person snapped back. Maybe you're cross-eyed. If you saw someone coming and didn't move, then you deserve it. Oh yeah. What now? You gotta accuse us of assaulting a police officer too. Just then, a man named Liu Nian walked out. Well, I was wondering who it was with no eyes. Turns out it's the little lady. Show some respect, everyone. This female officer here used to lose to me all the time. Back in the day, she even wanted to marry into your family. Hearing that, the crowd started chiming in. Hello, sister-in-law. No offense, no offense. Ying Ji glared at him and said coldly, I'll pretend you just spat a pile of garbage out of your mouth. Tell your guys to apologize and we'll let it go. But this guy just pushed things further. Little lady, is being a cop made you rusty? Remember the good old days when I had you pinned down and you couldn't move? Want me to help you relive the memory? Ying Ji's expression shifted. Something in Liu Nian's words clearly struck a nerve. Just as the crowd was about to join in again, a thick glob of spit flew straight into Liu Nian's face. Talk about bad luck. Some idea got in the way of the spit too. Zhao Wu walked up and casually threw an arm around Ying Ji's shoulders. What's wrong, babe? Ran into another rabid dog on the street? Well, I'm going to take care of it for you. Liu Nian wiped his face with excitement, his eyes full of sleazy amusement. Oh, is this the new boyfriend? Poor guy. Looks like I'll have to teach you a lesson. Zhao Wu pretended to be surprised. No wonder my treasure got upset, running into a mad dog like this. But don't worry, baby. I'm vaccinated. I'm immune to rabid dogs. Yingji wasn't exactly eager to go along with him, but only Zhao Wu could handle a scumbag like Lai Bin. Lai Bin snorted coldly when he heard that. I knew it. Yingji's boyfriend must be some mental patient straight out of an asylum. What hospital are you from, huh? Room 9527, and your mom's in 9526. That crazy woman keeps showing up at my place. Go ask her. You might even have a little brother you don't know about. Lai Bin couldn't keep his cool anymore. What did you just say? But then he stopped himself. This bastard was clearly trying to provoke him into throwing the first punch and get him charged with assault. He wasn't going to fall for that. He took a deep breath, pointed to the martial arts gym behind them, and said, "All right, punk. If you're so tough, follow me in there. Let's settle this with a real fight." Zhao Wu cracked his knuckles and sneered. "Fine. My hands have been itching anyway. But just so you know, I've got a reputation for hitting a little too hard. If I accidentally beat you to death, don't say I didn't warn you." Lai Bin turned and walked toward the gym. "Let's go. We'll see who's really asking for it." Just then, Yingji stepped in to stop Zhao Wu. "Zhao Wu, let it go. You're worried about me." "That's sweet. I'm touched. But don't worry. If he bullies you, he's bullying me too. Even if you forgive him, I will." Yingji's face turned even more serious. "You can't fight him. Since I started training, I've hardly lost a match. Except for that one draw with you. I've lost every other fight to him. Trust me, you're not his match." When he heard those words, Zhao Wu froze in shock. "Oh shit, why did you tell me earlier? It's too late to regret anything now." Just like Yingji had predicted, Zhao Wu ended up getting completely beaten down. His strength was no match at all. He was crushed and pinned to the floor. If he kept going head-to-head like this, there was no way he could win. So Zhao Wu started switching to other tactics. Lai Bin grabbed Zhao Wu by the collar, smirking. "Hey, little girl, why are you into this useless loser? How about I show you what a real man's like? Don't worry, once I'm done with you, I'll take care of him too tonight." Zhao Wu's eyes widened in shock when he heard that. He lunged at Lai Bin, trying to fight back, but he was knocked to the ground again. After a flurry of wild punches and kicks, Zhao Wu was in serious trouble, while Lai Bin hadn't even broken a sweat. "Little girl, why don't we pick up where we left off tonight? Trust me, you're gonna love how it feels being with me. What do you say?" Yingji didn't have time to think. She glared at Zhao Wu and shouted, "Stop it!" "That's enough. Zhao Wu, say you're sorry. Right now." Faced with such humiliation, Zhao Wu cursed and charged in to fight again, but it was clear he had no chance of winning. Right then, the system suddenly sent him an item called an energy boost pill. Was it worried he'd get beaten to death and sent this to help him turn the tide? "You're underestimating me. I'm not that weak." His eyes were sharp, filled with the resolve to fight to the bitter end. Yingji shouted, "Don't stand up. Zhao Wu, if you keep going like this, you'll get yourself killed." But Zhao Wu had already lost all sense of reason. He couldn't hear a thing. Lai Bin sneered with contempt. "Didn't expect this kid to be so stubborn. Yes, your little sister has some unique taste." Seeing Zhao Wu's face covered in wounds, Lai Bin raised his foot to kick him. "You're the one who asked for this." But to everyone's shock, Zhao Wu blocked the kick midair. What he did next left everyone speechless. He bit down hard on Lai Bin's thigh. Blood spurted out instantly. Lai Bin's scream echoed throughout the martial arts hall. This was supposed to be a civilized match. Who had ever seen such a brutal move? Clutching his wound, Lai Bin collapsed to the ground and cursed. "You psycho! You're out of your mind." Zhao Wu's eyes were bloodshot. He still had a chunk of flesh in his mouth. He spit out a mouthful of bloody saliva, then walked straight toward Lai Bin and slammed a punch into his face. Lai Bin, caught off guard and already weakened, cried out in fear, "Get him off me. He's lost it." Before he could finish his sentence, another punch landed. Then chaos erupted. Zhao Wu pinned Lai Bin down and started punching wildly, again and again, right on the same spot. In seconds, Lai Bin's head was a bloody mess. His face was completely disfigured. He couldn't even fight back. Still, Zhao Wu showed no sign of stopping. The crowd panicked. "Stop! You'll kill him." People rushed in to pull him apart, apologizing as they did. Zhao Wu, cold and expressionless, said just 3 words, "Apologize." Now, Lai Bin's gang was frozen in fear. We're sorry. We know we were wrong." Zhao Wu finally let out all his anger, then collapsed onto Yingji. A few hours later, he slowly regained consciousness in a hospital bed. "Why did you listen to us? Why did you have to go fight him?" "Well, if he insults me, that's fine. But insulting my woman, that's not something I can let slide." And who exactly is your woman?" Yingji, already used to Zhao Wu's way of thinking, gave him a command. "Sit up straight." Then I thought Yingji was about to feed him fruit, so he opened his mouth and leaned in. But instead, she suddenly gave him a light kiss on the cheek. It was just a soft touch, like a dragonfly skimming the water, but it meant so much more. Zhao Wu took the chance to pull her into a mischievous hug. This isn't good. My blood pressure's rising, my head's spinning. Yingji's face turned red hot, and she quickly helped him sit up. You have to take responsibility for this, Zhao Wu said, still caught up in the moment as he stared at her. Then an idea popped into his head. Hey, you all didn't see anything just now, all right? Yingji turned around. There was no one there. Zhao Wu, you tricked me again. The moment she turned back, Zhao Wu lunged forward and kissed her deeply, getting exactly what he wanted. Zhao Wu lost himself in the passionate kiss. Pinned beneath him, she struggled to breathe, her body trembling like it had just been hit by a jolt of electricity. After a brief moment of silence, she pushed him away too. Zhao Wu, don't get carried away just because I let one thing slide. Zhao Wu stayed calm, not a flicker of emotion on his face. His heart didn't skip a beat. We're both adults here. What's there to be embarrassed about? He teased her lightly. If you think the hospital isn't the right place, we can always continue this at home. That kind of teasing made her, someone who hadn't experienced romance in 20 years, blush furiously. She raised her hand to hit him. Zhao Wu immediately backed off. Ow, ow, that hurts. My wound's tearing open again. Okay, fine, I'll stop being a jerk. You've been acting strange today. It's because of that guy Lai Bin, isn't it? Zhao Wu's words hit a nerve. Her expression shifted. It became complicated and uneasy. He and I grew up training in Taekwondo together. I had a crush on him back then. Every time we sparred, I got distracted because of my feelings, so I always lost. Eventually, it left a mental scar. I didn't want to be tied to him anymore, but I couldn't seem to let go. Thankfully, you showed up. Zhao Wu gently took her hand, his voice soft. So that kiss just now was because, before he could finish, Yingji cut him off. Don't get the wrong idea, I was just following through on a bet from the bank robbery case. Of course, Zhao Wu didn't buy her excuse, but you made the first move. Yingji was furious, practically losing her mind. A few seconds later, Zhao Wu's pained cries echoed through the hospital room again. That same day, at a Coco Cafe, there was a blind date. And who else would show up but Zhao Wu? Turns out this body of his came with a mother who was obsessed with marrying him off. After being in this world for so long, he had almost forgotten about her. But today, she finally caught him and dragged him into a blind date. Thinking back to that time, the old lady had come looking for Zhao Wu, saying she had already set him up with someone. Then she introduced him to a girl named Jin Yuan and praised her, saying she had the face of someone destined for wealth. From the photo, her figure was indeed attractive, but Zhao Wu already had someone he liked, so he started thinking of ways to escape. He raised his hand to excuse himself, saying he needed to use the restroom. His mother scolded him for being lazy and uncooperative. When he opened the restroom window, he saw a water pipe outside. If he climbed along the pipe, maybe he could sneak out. Just as he was about to jump, he heard people talking about him. What do you think of that cop you saw earlier? Weren't you always saying you wanted to marry a policeman? The other woman didn't respond and just said, forget it. I think Jin Yuan is more suited to marrying a cop. She's been missing for 2 or 3 days now. Jin Yuan, isn't that the girl Mom was talking about? She's gone missing? Zhao Wu suddenly remembered the hidden body case they were investigating at the bank. According to the files copied from the Special Task Force, the most recent victim was someone who had gone missing 2 years ago, starved to death and stuffed into a safe. From the information on the previous 5 victims, over the past 6 years, the killer had starved one person to death each year. If the pattern held, the killer was likely to strike again this year. Could Jin Yuan be the next target? Was it just a coincidence? As Zhao Wu thought about this, he started climbing up the pipe. But as soon as he got on, he slipped and fell straight into the women's restroom next door. Right at that moment, a curvy woman was changing her clothes. Their eyes met, and for a second, time seemed to stop. Zhao Wu was about to brush it off with a laugh when the woman's face turned from pale to red, then exploded into a high-pitched scream. In the chaos, she threw the clothes in her hands at him. The pipe they were standing on started to shake violently, and in the end, he couldn't avoid falling off it. With a loud thud, Zhao Wu hit the ground, his vision spinning. Luckily, he landed in a trash bin. Right after that, the detection system went off. He looked up and scanned his surroundings, his face showing clear surprise. In the corner near the wall, there were over a dozen surveillance cameras, but none of them had power. Zhao Wu looked more closely and noticed all the camera wires were connected to the bakery next door. Wait a second, this bakery looks familiar, he thought to himself. The suspect in the Kuping murder case once bought a cake here. Why would a small bakery need so many cameras? Still full of questions, he called Zhang Jingfeng. Suddenly, 2 hands patted him lightly on the shoulders. Long time no see, officer, said a woman cheerfully, even snatching the phone right out of his hand. Zhao Wu was confused. Who is this woman? He wondered. But something about her felt oddly familiar. She giggled and said, "Zhao Wu, come talk in the car," as she opened the car door and gestured for him to get in. Curious, he followed her. On the car's surveillance screen, the face of Chief Liu appeared. "I thought we agreed. This case is our department's responsibility. Why are you interfering in the Ku Ping case again?" Chief Liu said angrily. Zhao Wu smiled slightly, confirming the suspicion he had, as he thought the woman was one of Chief Liu's people. He was curious to see how far they had gotten in their investigation of the Ku Ping case. So, ignoring Chief Liu's protests, he quickly ended the call and slowly walked toward the woman. "There's just the two of us in the car," he said. "Should we talk about why you're here on surveillance duty, or maybe something a little more fun?" As he spoke, he gently brushed her hair with curiosity. She was new to the job and hadn't seen much of the world yet. There was no way she could handle that kind of teasing. Flustered, she had no choice but to answer honestly. "When we were investigating trying to reconstruct Zhao King's movements, we planned to collect the surveillance footage from the cake shop. But the place was already completely deserted. That made us even more suspicious it might be a criminal hideout, so we had people watching it day and night in case someone comes back." Understanding the situation, Zhao Wu explained to her, "I only came here today to buy a cake. Didn't expect to run into you. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. It's getting too warm in the car anyway. Let's go grab a bite to eat." Her face turned bright red as she protested, "Mr. Zhao, I'm on duty. My coworker will be back any minute." Zhao Wu picked up his phone again. "It's not a big deal. Let's eat first, then come hang out at my place." Just as things started to feel a little too suggestive, the phone suddenly rang, cutting through the moment. Zhao Wu muttered under his breath, "Man, who's got such bad timing?" But when he looked at the screen and saw Zhang Jingfeng's name, he froze. The investigation had revealed that Jin Yuan, 35 years old, worked at a travel agency in Zone A of this building. On the day she disappeared, she came to work as usual, but none of her coworkers saw her again after that. The last thing the surveillance cameras recorded was her entering the building. However, the police searched every camera in the building and couldn't find any trace of her after that. How could someone who's clearly alive just vanish without a trace right under the surveillance cameras? Then Zhao Wu and his subordinate entered the building. "Let's follow the cameras and see what we can find first." But after reaching the end of Area A, they didn't uncover anything. Beyond this door was Area B. Could she have gone there? The two of them pushed the door open and immediately noticed a camera above them. If she had entered, it should have been recorded right from the start. Zhao Wu then noticed a door leading to the emergency exit nearby. But strangely, this door was locked. His instincts told him something was off. So, he kicked the door open. Inside the stairwell, there wasn't a single camera. His subordinate looked visibly distressed. "Zhao, don't you think something's off here? It smells bad." Zhao Wu seemed to realize something and quickly started running upstairs. His subordinate, confused but still following, tried to keep up. When they reached the 6th floor, they suddenly stopped. There, lying in the stairwell, was the naked body of a woman. According to the police investigation, the victim's name was Jin Yuan. She worked for a travel agency in Area A of the building. When the incident happened, she had gone to Area B for a collaboration with a decorating company there. Since it was rush hour and the elevators were crowded, she had chosen to take the emergency exit. The suspect had been following and then committed the crime. The cause of death was a sudden heart attack, likely triggered during the assault. We've narrowed down the suspect. He's a maintenance worker from the building. On the day of the incident, he'd had taken a lot of stimulants, and he has a criminal record. We're in the process of arresting him. At this point, Yingji spoke up, "So the Jin Yuan case and the bank murder case probably aren't connected. Everyone's been awake all night, so you should have some breakfast. Right now, the clue of the bank murder case has come to a dead end." Zhao Wu felt completely stuck. Have you noticed how indifferent the families of the victims of the bank murder case seem? It's like they have no reaction to the death of their loved ones. They haven't even come to the police station crying or making a scene. Yingji explained most of them don't have many immediate family members left. They're all people without children and their parents are already gone. That makes sense, Zhao Wu said while pulling out some breakfast. He noticed there were 2 portions. "Did you prepare this especially for me?" A warm feeling spread in his heart. "You're being so nice to me, yet you still say you don't like me." Yingji turned her face away, embarrassed. "You can't even stop talking when you're eating. Just choke on it." Suddenly, the phone rang. It was Zhao Wu's mother calling to check on him. "Son, are you okay? I saw on TV that a police car was in an accident and I was so scared." Zhao Wu reassured her. "I'm fine, Mom. It wasn't our car, so don't worry." "Hold on, was it a car accident?" Zhao Wu stared intently at the analysis in front of him. The family members of 2 of the victims had died in a car accident, so he asked about the cause of the crash. Zhang Jingfeng said, "It was a long-distance bus. The accident happened in the Guishan Tunnel 17 years ago. Back then, an oil tanker exploded, causing the tunnel to collapse. Many vehicles were buried under the rubble for days. The subordinate had found the latest information on the accident. Xiao Zhenjiang's entire family of 3 was on the bus, but only Xiao Zhenjiang survived. Hong Yun and her mother were also on the bus, while Tang Ling was likely picking up wholesale goods. Duan Daching and Gong Xiuzhen had gone to buy goods for their business. Chang Hongran was the bus driver at the time. Yingji exclaimed everyone was connected to that tunnel accident. Years later, the survivors of the oil tanker explosion, which caused the tunnel collapse, are dying in strange and mysterious ways. There has to be a connection. Zhao Wu moved closer, determined to find out who the killer was. We need to get records on the survivors and the victims of that accident. Yingji grabbed his restless hand. It's been too long. The relevant agencies haven't kept many records. You should ask the newspapers and TV stations. Soon enough, Zhang Jingfeng found out that there were a total of 7 survivors from that accident. They were trapped in the tunnel for 15 days before the rescue team freed them. Of the 6 who had died, only 2 survivors remained from the bus. Sun Yehan and Qiu Xin Yang. 17 years ago, they were 25 and 14 years old, respectively. The culprit is most likely one of these 2 people, but who could it be? Yingji pointed at the photos of the 2 individuals and decisively said, "Stop guessing. I'm taking Team B to arrest Sun Yihan. Zhao Wu, you take Team A and look for Qiu Xin Yang. Capture them, and we'll figure things out afterward. But don't let any of these developments reach the special investigation team. They're always trying to compete with us." One of the subordinates chimed in, "Yeah, let them stop looking down on others. They don't even share their files with us. What a bunch of petty people." But they would never know at that very moment a woman in black was standing just outside the door, hiding in the shadows. She smiled mysteriously, her expression full of hidden meaning. Zhao Wu led the team to the bookstore. Zhang Jingfeng couldn't help but complain, why would a bookstore be open in a place like this? It's all run down here, and there's hardly anyone around. Zhao Wu believed this was a good spot to hide someone. It seemed that Qiu Xin Yang was indeed the culprit in the bank corpse case. Earlier, the subordinate had sent over some files revealing that years ago, on a long-distance bus, there were only 2 pregnant women. One was Sun Yihan, who later had a child and lived a happy family life. The other was Qiu Xin Yang's mother, but both she and the baby she was carrying had died. His father, heartbroken and depressed, also passed away 8 years ago. The bank corpse case began 7 years ago, which gave Qiu Xin Yang a stronger motive. Suddenly, Yingji's voice came through on the walkie-talkie. "We couldn't find Sun Yihan. Her family said she left on a business trip 4 days ago, but she couldn't even take the train. Her family has already reported her missing to the police. So where could she have gone?" In a dark room, a weak woman pounded on the door. "Is anyone there? Help me. Open the door and save me." Outside the door, a figure stood tall, glaring at the locked door, a sinister smile on their face. In the unfinished neighborhood that people call the Ghost Town, Zhao Wu and the others quickly found Qiu Xin Yang's bookstore. To their surprise, there was a car from the special investigation team parked outside. Wang Sheng Yao's people had beaten them here. But had there been no progress that morning, they immediately realized they had been tracked. How immoral! Even a dog would want to bite them. Suddenly, there was a noise coming from inside the bookstore, and those who had entered rushed back out. A thick cloud of white smoke started rising inside. Zhao Wu quickly stopped 2 of them from going in. "Don't go in yet. Call for backup, and I'll go in alone to rescue them." As he made his way through, he activated his hidden breathing device. The smoke was so thick that it made him cough and his eyes burn, unable to open them. Inside, a group of people from the special investigation team were lying on the floor, unconscious. The source of the smoke was a poisonous lamp, and Zhao Wu could tell right away that Qiu Xin Yang was behind it. He pulled each person out one by one. Luckily, they were just unconscious, not seriously hurt. The smoke was likely just a tranquilizing gas, but these fools had let him slip away, which made things a lot more complicated. Sun Yihan has been missing for 4 days now. 4 days without food or water is getting too dangerous. Where the hell has that bastard Qiu Xin Yang locked her up? Zhao Wu seemed to have an epiphany, suddenly shouting, "I remember Qiu Xin Yang's father is a real estate mogul. Check if there's any connection to this ghost town development." Soon, one of his subordinates found that the villa complex in this ghost town had been developed by Qiu Xin Yang's father, and he had even purchased a few properties under his own name. Here's the translation. Then they discover even more shocking news. It turns out that Qiu Xin Yang's mother is the director of a bank, and in fact, she was involved in planning the bank's vault operations. So, did Qiu Xin Yang put the corpse in the vault as a tribute to his mother? What had those people done to his mother all those years ago? As everyone was trying to make sense of this, Yingji's voice suddenly came through the walkie-talkie. "Zhao Wu, we have new information. Hu Xinyang is near the West Bus Station and has just withdrawn over 7,000 yuan. We're heading there now. He's probably planning to escape. Zhao Wu smirked and replied, Got it. Let's head to the villa and find Sun Yi Han. Sweetheart, your husband's not around, so be careful. Yinji muttered a few curses and left the group chat. The three of them followed the address to the villa area. With so many houses, where could they be hiding Sun Yi Han? At this critical moment, they had to rely on Da Huang. One of the subordinates doubted Da Huang's abilities. Zhao Wu, however, wore a smug expression. It may not be able to find people, but it sure knows how to find fresh mess. In no time, Da Huang excitedly started barking. They really hit it well. Without this dog, we never would have found it. With Da Huang's success, Zhao Wu beamed with pride. Of course, this is the best poop-sniffing expert in my house. As he spoke, he kicked open a door and a cold, damp gust of air mixed with a foul stench hit them. Looking down, they saw someone lying motionless on the floor. The person was wearing a white spaghetti strap dress, lying there without moving, and it was unclear whether they were alive or dead. Zhao Wu was the first to rush in and lift the person up. Unexpectedly, during this movement, the person let out a weak groan. Everyone was extremely excited. Great, she's still alive. Tell our people to drive her to the hospital. The three of us stayed behind, waiting for Qiu Xinyang to come back. One of the subordinates was a bit confused. Didn't Qiu Xinyang already escape from the bus station? Zhao Wu explained, he committed so many crimes and is so calculating. How could he expose himself over just 7,000 yuan? I think he's trying to mislead the police. But he clearly knows the police are after him and still has to come back. Doesn't that just mean he's looking for a way to die? Zhao Wu also believed that in his mind, only hatred mattered. The goal was to return and kill Sun Yi Han. Just as everyone was in shock, a gunshot rang out. The bullet whizzed by Zhao Wu's ear and embedded itself in the wall across the room. Zhao Wu was terrified, breaking out in cold sweat. When he turned around, he saw Qiu Xinyang standing there. He was wearing a gas mask and aiming a gun in our direction. Then he pulled out a toxic smoke grenade and confidently threw it inside. In an instant, smoke filled the room. Zhao Wu cursed under his breath and told everyone, Hold your breath. Whatever you do, don't inhale the toxic smoke. Then he stood up, activating his concealed breathing apparatus and invisible bulletproof vest. Meanwhile, Qiu Xinyang on the other side was wildly firing into the smoke, until there was no sound at all from within the haze. As soon as he thought everyone was dead and let his guard down, his eyes suddenly widened in shock like two giant bells. Something unbelievable had just happened. Out of the smoke, Zhao Wu charged forward, and not only was he unharmed, but he also quickly shoved his hand over the barrel of the gun, followed by a powerful punch to the man's face. With the handcuffs raised as he did so, Zhao Wu finally let out a sigh of relief. Turning around, he saw that his colleagues had all passed out on the ground. He picked up a lamp from the floor, thinking to himself that he had to deal with this situation quickly. Just then, he heard footsteps approaching. Team leader, look. Isn't this the suspect? Why are they handcuffed? What happened here? Are these people from the R division? They've all passed out. Wang Sheng Yao, hearing this, was overjoyed. Quick, switch his handcuffs to ours and take the suspect back to the station right away. I'll stay here and oversee things. Zhao Wu, hiding behind a pillar, was left speechless. Wang Sheng Yao, truly shameless, stealing my credit. I'll teach you a lesson. With that, he threw the smoke lamp, and there was a loud crash, followed by some startled shouts and the sound of people falling. Zhao Wu smirked, pleased with himself. A moment later, the rescue team arrived. Zhao Wu feigned concern as he approached and called out, Team Leader Wang, you really let your guard down. How does it feel to be knocked out by the smoke? Wang Sheng Yao was shaking with anger, but couldn't say a word. Zhao Wu gently covered her mouth. Shh, it'll worry, just rest up. I'll deal with you when you wake up. With that, he confidently walked off, strutting away. On the way to escort Qiu Xinyang, he sat there, his face full of sorrow, staring out the window. Zhao Wu, noticing the awkward silence, decided to break it. Are you reluctant to leave? After all, this is your home, he said. Qiu Xinyang didn't respond, but his mind drifted back to the past. It had once been a warm, happy family of 3, with a baby on the way, but everything was destroyed by the accident. Its expression turned dark and filled with rage. They ruined my family. All 7 of them deserve to die. 17 years ago, my mother and I were on our way home. When the bus passed through a tunnel, a tanker truck exploded, causing the tunnel to collapse. Giant rocks started falling all around. My mother, me, and those 7 people were all trapped in the vehicle. I was stuck in my seat, and when I looked up at my mother, I saw a metal rod sticking out of her back. On the 7th day after we were trapped, the people around us started to decay. The food we had in the vehicle was almost gone. My mother couldn't eat. They saw that I still had some food, and they all started fighting to get it from me. I was about to share some with them, but those bastards didn't think about me or my mother at all. They sent the living should eat first and immediately took all our food. My mother's condition kept getting worse. She was on the verge of death. Before she passed away, she gathered her last bit of strength to tell me to keep living. Mom was killed by them, by those 7 people. That wounded boy kept walking the path of revenge. He starved them to death and then locked them in a safe at the bank where his mother had worked. Zhao Wu had already mentally prepared himself, but after hearing about the unfortunate events from that bus trip years ago, he still felt uneasy. After his mother and younger brother died, Qiu Xin, Yang's father, lived in constant self-blame, thinking that if he had driven them himself that day, they wouldn't have gotten into that accident. Qiu Xin, Yang's father's business continued to decline, and a few years later, he passed away from illness. Qiu Xin Yang believed that his family's downfall was all because of the people who had taken the food from him and his mother on the bus. So, he used the money from the house his father left behind to start his plan for revenge. Sometimes he would sit on the sofa in the basement, quietly listening to the cries and the helpless banging on the door from the people he had locked up. 1 day, 2 days, until there was no sound coming from the other side of the door. After the bank case was closed, he was someone who didn't socialize much, so he didn't even know that the bodies had been found. It wasn't until the special investigation team came to ask him that he decided to use the knockout gas on them. No one was allowed to stop him from killing the last person. Unfortunately, the last words of his mother were probably just a wish for him to live well in the future. At this point, Zhao Wu let out a helpless sigh. Ying Ji held up the statement and walked over to call Zhao Wu. Zhao Wu, even though he's confessed to everything, there's still one thing I don't get. When you caught Qiu Xin Yang, Wang Sheng Yao, and the others, why were they also unconscious? They should have arrived after you, right? Zhao Wu started to pretend he didn't understand. How would I know? Well, I had a shootout with the criminal, and after taking care of him, I ran down to the basement to save the others. Who knew they'd all be passed out when I went back upstairs? His clumsy acting was quickly exposed by Ying Ji. Come on, didn't you use Qiu Xin Yang's stuff to knock them out? Zhao Wu, you really... Hearing this, Zhao Wu suddenly became nervous. Was she mad at him? Ying Ji suddenly hugged Zhao Wu's face and called him smart, catching him completely off guard. They want to take credit for our work. How can we just let that slide? Don't worry. No matter how Wang Sheng Yao tries to explain it, we'll stick to the story that they got tricked by the criminals. It has nothing to do with us. Only then did Zhao Wu finally relax, letting out a long breath. The unexpected compliment made his face flush with embarrassment. He looked around to make sure no one was watching, then quietly pulled a small wrapped box from his jacket and handed it to Ying Ji. This is for you. Clearly nervous, Zhao Wu stumbled over his words. Inside the box was a pair of sparkling earrings. Ying Ji was taken aback and blushed slightly. I got these for you. It's a gift, Zhao Wu said awkwardly. Ying Ji, clearly touched, lowered her head and replied softly, Thank you. They're beautiful. Zhao Wu couldn't help but feel a spark of hope. Maybe this meant she had feelings for him too. Just then, she looked up and said, Zhao Wu, what are you waiting for? Help me put them on. Zhao Wu nodded quickly, a mix of nerves and excitement building up. As he stepped closer to help, he noticed the curve of her neck and the way her hair gently framed her face. His hands trembled slightly, but he stayed focused. He paused for a moment, overwhelmed, but Ying Ji's calm expression helped him snap back to reality. He carefully brushed her hair aside and fastened the second earring. The scent of her shampoo lingered in the air, a small, quiet moment he knew he'd remember. As soon as the atmosphere became tense, a very odd person suddenly ran out from behind the wall. A group of others peeked their heads out as well, smiling and saying, We just wanted to use the bathroom. We didn't see anything. Zhao Wu swallowed hard and angrily yelled, What are you staring at? Go upstairs and use the bathroom. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Sun Yihan woke up in her hospital bed. Upon learning the truth, she was furious and screamed, It's not what he said. His mother had already died from the start. Her words shocked the investigators who were present. Sun Yihan continued to tell the full story. At that time, our bus was crushed by a large rock. Many people were trapped underneath, and his mother wasn't lucky either. A piece of metal pierced her back, and she was already dead. But that boy kept talking to his mother, feeding her, as if she were still alive. We were all terrified. On top of that, he insisted that he was stuck in his seat, refusing to get out no matter how much we tried to help. We did share our food with him, but his mother had really been dead from the beginning. We were stuck for 15 days, and that food saved our lives. At that time, he was also very hungry, and it was me, bit by bit, who fed him so he could survive. At this point, Sun Yihan completely broke down, crying uncontrollably. Why, after all of us barely survived that disaster, did he end up killing everyone just because of the delusions in his mind? Zhao Wu never expected the truth to be like this. After being diagnosed by the experts, Xin Yang shows symptoms of schizophrenia. Everything that happened on the bus might have been just his imagination. As the two of them were talking, they arrived at the door of the Special Forces team's room. Wang Sheng Yao was urging the members to quickly pack up and leave. It seemed like Captain Wang had lost a bet and was trying to slip away unnoticed. She thought she was being clever, didn't she? Zhao Wu shouted loudly, "Where are you going, Captain Wang? Why didn't you say anything? Yingji, tighten your fist. We want to send you off too." Seeing this, Wang Sheng Yao's face went pale. Just the thought of taking 3 punches for losing the bet was embarrassing enough, so she tried to come up with an excuse. "Zhao Wu, if you hadn't deliberately thrown the tranquilizer at us, who would have caught the criminal first? What's so impressive about your dirty tricks?" Her team members quickly jumped in to support her. Zhao Wu shook his head and responded, "I don't know who said we should quickly switch their handcuffs. When it comes to shamelessness, I really can't compare to you." At this point, Wang Sheng Yao felt completely humiliated and didn't know how to face anyone. But since it was a bet, she had no choice but to accept the loss. Zhao Wu casually gave her 2 options. One was to take 3 punches from Ying Ji, and the other was to politely bow to Ying Ji and call her senior. Wang Sheng Yao gritted her teeth, but had no other choice. She reluctantly bowed to Ying Ji and said, "Sorry, Senior Miao." Her team members couldn't help but smile in victory. After solving such a beautiful case, they certainly had to celebrate in style. At a fancy Western restaurant, Ying Ji was giving instructions to the server. "Please give us 2 bottles of wine from the year 2000. Thank you." The lavish restaurant left the colleagues in awe. Those in the know explained that this was a members-only establishment, and they had heard that regular people had to make a reservation at least a month in advance to get in. Watching Ying Ji talk so professionally with the server, Zhao Wu couldn't help but feel a little jealous. She seemed so familiar with this place. Did she frequently dine at such fancy restaurants? At that moment, Ying Ji stood up, raising her glass of red wine. "Today is our celebration. This case is wrapping up thanks to everyone's hard work. I got promoted to team leader because of all of you. It's really great working with such a wonderful team." She finished her speech and downed her wine in one go. Suddenly, Ying Ji noticed that Zhao Wu sitting next to her didn't look too happy, so she raised her glass toward him. "Zhao Wu, let's have a drink together." The colleagues all cheered in unison. "Cheers! You two are truly the power couple of our art division." Despite feeling conflicted, Zhao Wu never turned down a drink. He immediately raised his glass, clinked it with Ying Ji's, and drank it all in one go. Ying Ji followed suit, drinking with gusto. After a few rounds, the group turned the elegant, upscale restaurant into the lively atmosphere of a street-side diner. Ying Ji became even more carefree, joking around and playing with her colleagues. Meanwhile, Zhao Wu couldn't shake the weight of his thoughts. He had always believed that if he just worked hard enough to solve the case, he could catch up with her. But now, it seemed like the distance between him and her was only growing bigger. Ying Ji asked if she could borrow some wine and go to Zhao Wu's place. "Why are you being so well-behaved today? Did you mess up again?" she asked. "I secretly took nude photos of Captain Miao and accidentally posted them on my social media," he confessed. Hearing that, Ying Ji put her arm around his shoulder and casually sat on his lap. "Is it that you can't stand it if I don't scold you for a day, huh? You're such a troublemaker," she teased. Feeling her warmth so close, Zhao Wu became tense, unsure of where to put his hands. But his mouth wasn't going to back down. "Captain Miao got drunk right in front of me. Doesn't she fear that I'll trick her into coming back to my place and make her kneel on the bed?" he said boldly. Ying Ji immediately put her finger to his lips to silence him. "You shameless Zhao Wu, just look at yourself," she said, tossing her hair behind her. "Would I look prettier if I tied my hair up like this?" she asked. Zhao Wu glanced at her, noticing she was wearing the earrings he gave her. He immediately understood what she meant and hugged her waist even tighter. "Your hairstyle now is perfect too. Let me take you home, all right?" he said. Ying Ji felt like she was electrified as he lifted her up, a strange mix of emotions bubbling inside her. How do you properly take a drunk female coworker home? First, when they reached her building, he politely opened the car door, then pretended to ask, "Do you live around here?" Ying Ji nodded in confirmation. "6th floor, 4th window from the left. When the light turns on, you'll know it's time to go up," she explained. Zhao Wu, intrigued, gently ran his fingers through her hair. "How about a drink? Aren't you going to invite me up?" he asked. Ying Ji blushed, grateful for the alcohol, and rested her head on his shoulder, speaking shyly, "All right, but my family's home. Want to meet them?" Zhao Wu puckered his lips in frustration and replied, "Never mind. I should have just taken you to my place instead." Ying Ji couldn't help but laugh out loud. Why would you take me to your place? She teased. Zhao Wu blushed and explained, of course, just to have a drink. Hearing that, Yingji blew a breath of alcohol in his face. Look at me. I reeked of liquor. Maybe next time, she said, then turned and started to leave. Text me when you get home, Zhao Wu called after her, watching her perfect figure walk away. He couldn't help but wonder, what would it be like if we were really together? The next morning, while Zhao Wu was still dreaming in bed, he heard his mother's voice outside the door. Oh my, what a coincidence. I was just about to buy some vegetables to make dumplings for you and had bumped into your aunt. Then another familiar voice echoed, I was just passing by here. Zhao Wu was startled when he heard it. He jumped up, cursed under his breath, and shouted, Damn, did I hear that wrong? The next moment, he jumped off the bed and rushed to open the door. It really was her. How did she end up in my house? His mom shot him a quick glance and scolded, You lazy brat. The sun's already up, and you're still not awake. Look, your daughter-in-law has been helping me with work all morning. Hearing the words daughter-in-law, Zhao Wu broke into a cold sweat, panic setting in. He quickly pulled Yingji back to his room. Mom, you go ahead. I'll talk to her for a bit. Zhao Wu was left in a daze, closing the door behind him. He asked, What's going on? How did you end up here? Yingji, of course, was just as confused. Early this morning, while she was out buying food, the old lady stopped her and kept calling her daughter-in-law, then introduced herself as his mother. When did I become your girlfriend? And why do I suddenly have a mother-in-law like this? Zhao Wu finally snapped out of his haze and realized what had happened. It was because the last time his mom had pushed him into a blind date, he had reluctantly shown her a photo of Yingji just to get out of it. He never expected his mom to believe it was real. Zhao Wu, feeling genuinely sorry, apologized. Sorry about this. My mom's getting older and she's kind of hard to deal with. Please be patient with her and play along with this little act. I'll make it up to you. I swear I'll work like a dog to repay you. Yingji couldn't help but stifle a laugh. So even tough guys have their weak spots. Seeing him so flustered, it honestly made her feel better. She turned to head out the door. Well then, I guess I'll reluctantly play along. Zhao Wu quickly thanked her. If my mom says anything rude, just ignore it, okay? At that moment, Mother Zhao happened to walk in. Have you two finished talking? Her daughter-in-law was beautiful, and her son, though not particularly wealthy, was honest and never caused any trouble. Hearing this, Yingji nudged Zhao Wu with her elbow and teasingly said, You're really that honest, huh? Did you know that those two pretty girls from next door come over every couple of weeks? The old woman immediately assured her, He would never do anything like that. If he did, I'd be the first one to punish him. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Zhao Wu quickly ran to open it, and standing outside were the two beautiful neighbors. Hey Zhao, I baked some treats for Da Huang and brought over food for the dog. Zhao Wu was flustered, quickly grabbing the dog food. Thank you, you two kind neighbors. I will keep you then. Goodbye. With that, Zhao Wu slammed the door shut, leaving the two girls outside confused. As soon as Zhao Wu walked back inside, his mother scolded him. Son, how many times have I told you? That girl with the fox eyes, stop hanging out with her. Daughter-in-law, don't worry, I'm here, and she won't dare cause trouble. Yingji was delighted to see Zhao Wu getting scolded and mischievously added fuel to the fire. Oh, aunt, you're underestimating him. From what I know, he's quite the charmer with women. It's not just the girls at work who like him. Even the little girls downstairs call him their adoptive dad. This left the old lady completely stunned, unable to believe it. She could barely even talk to her daughter without blushing. How could she possibly act as a godfather? Yingji was getting better and better at his performance. If he keeps this up, I really won't feel at ease. Auntie, you agree, right? Zhao Wu quickly figured out the situation. Yingji was clearly seeking revenge. Was she jealous, or was she just deliberately adding fuel to the fire? Zhao Wu forced a smile and called out, Mom, please don't listen to her nonsense. How could I ever be that kind of person? Just then, someone knocked on the door, followed by a soft, innocent voice. Godfather! Zhao Wu rushed to open the door, and the landlord's daughter walked in carrying a large watermelon. Godfather, my mom's out of the hospital now. She specifically asked me to bring you this watermelon as a gift. After the girl left, Zhao Wu's mom couldn't hold back any longer. Her angry voice echoed through the entire building. Zhao Wu, why on earth are you playing Godfather all of a sudden? Where did you learn this nonsense? Let me tell you, a wife as good as yours is 1 in a million. You won't find another like her, even if you search with a lantern. Stop pulling this weird stuff with me. Yingji couldn't help but grin widely, clearly enjoying this far too much. Auntie, this is nothing yet. Last time, Zhao Wu even brought a drunk nurse home. You've got to make him pay for this one. After the commotion died down, Zhao Wu was exhausted both physically and mentally. Yingji, on the other hand, was still grinning with delight. Zhao Wu, looks like it's your turn now. The old woman already left her phone number for me. If your little brat tries anything shady with me again, I'll call her right away. Zhao Wu shrugged, not caring much. Go ahead and call then. Yingji turned and pushed him against the wall. What's the problem? Well, your kid really does have a lot of secrets. He's got a beautiful woman bringing food for the dog and a girl bringing him watermelon. Seeing that she was serious about calling, Zhao Wu quickly stopped her. It was just a joke. Don't actually do it. Captain Meow. Don't get jealous. Don't worry, you're the only one in my heart. Yingji pushed his hand away and turned to walk toward the car. What does it matter to me? I'm not jealous. Don't try to sweet-talk me. Zhao Wu, feeling a bit frustrated, changed the topic and asked if she liked bodybuilding. Yingji coldly replied, what if I do? Then nothing, wife. Well, you should head home and rest early. I'll see you in my dreams. Switching scenes to the gym, taking a deep breath. Ever since they discovered the shady business here, it's been sealed off. Today, though, the local authorities suddenly relaxed the restrictions, so Zhao Wu went ahead and signed the contract to buy the gym. He thought it would be a good place for Yingji to practice her martial arts later on. He left Huang Mao in charge of managing the gym, making sure to set up a space for training. Watching Huang Mao seriously learn the ropes with the store manager, Zhao Wu couldn't help but feel happy. But for today's success, he owed it all to an old friend who had helped smooth over the connections with the authorities. Even Boss Gaw had to admit he was impressed by Zhao Wu's boldness. Thinking about how he had been threatened and coaxed earlier just made Zhao Wu even more furious. Seeing this, Zhao Wu quickly pulled out a 200,000 yuan card and slipped it into the man's pocket. After all, he would still need Boss Gu's guidance in business matters later on. It was clear that Boss Gua hadn't forgiven the old grudge between them. Zhao Wu kept reassuring him, Zhao Wu, I've never been stingy with my friends. Of course, I won't let you be busy for nothing. The conflict between us started because of Hu Meng. If Hu Meng and the Ku Ping case aren't connected, then we really have no reason to keep fighting. Guan Chunhua was left speechless for a moment, but finally gave it in. All right, since you, Officer Zhao, consider me a friend, then let's forget about the past. If you need anything in the future, just let me know. With that, he left with a confident stride. Zhao Wu turned his attention to the row of cameras in the warehouse and quietly smiled to himself. The gym he had taken over could definitely use these surveillance cameras. If any of them were dirty, they could easily be removed. Cameras, huh? He remembered seeing something similar at the bakery Zhao King had visited earlier, so he headed back to the bakery. After observing for a while, he began to make his own assessment. He recalled that the last time he was here, these cameras seemed to be turned off, but now they were all on. Each of these cameras was an expensive, special imported device. What caught his attention was how they were all arranged in a way that seemed to be guarding one particular area, the garage across the street. Could there be something wrong with that garage? Zhao Wu pushed his bike out and suddenly discovered an entrance. In that instant, a shock of electricity coursed through his body. Before he could even make sense of the situation in front of him, he lost consciousness and collapsed to the ground. When he woke up again, the first thing he heard was the sound of two women talking. Shuang have already checked the phone signal source. The police have no idea he's here. The woman laughed loudly after hearing this. If we kill him now, no one, neither God nor the devil, will know. Zhao Wu groggily opened his eyes. Where am I? My head hurts so much. In front of him was a room that looked like a storage space with a woman talking nonstop in the middle of a crowd. This guy, Zhao Wu, has been cracking some major cases recently. Don't underestimate him. I had to approach him from behind to be able to make a move. Zhao Wu focused and tried to steady his mind. Isn't that the female cop next to Mr. Leo? Damn, she's trying to sneak attack me. Once he confirmed that he was in a dangerous situation, Zhao Wu remained calm and began to observe his surroundings. A female voice suddenly echoed. If we can't even take him down, how are we worthy of the name Black 8? Hearing those words, Zhao Wu's eyes widened in shock. Black 8. That mysterious organization was enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Zhao King was a member of it. These people were probably his accomplices, the same ones who killed Ku Ping. At this moment, the young policewoman realized Zhao Wu had woken up, and fear made her step back as she called out, Shuai, he's awake. The other woman remained calm, unconcerned. What's there to be afraid of? This bastard forced Zhao King to his death. He can't be allowed to die too easily. Zhao Wu let out a cold grunt. It seems like you're all the type to be straightforward. I don't mind dying, but at least let me die with some clarity. Why don't you just tell me who exactly among you killed Ku Ping? The brute was stunned for a moment before they burst into loud laughter. They hadn't expected Zhao Wu to remain so calm. It doesn't matter if we tell you, one of them said, still laughing. The one who killed Ku Ping is none other than Zhao King. To make her death look like an accident, we'd already set up a scapegoat. Hu Meng. After confirming Ku Ping's route home that night, we placed obstacles both in front and behind to block other cars from coming through. Then we threw Ho Meng in the middle of the road. 10 minutes later, Ku Ping showed up, and we used Hu Meng to force her car to stop. She wasn't prepared at all, so she slammed on the brakes and got out to check. As soon as she was in front of Hu Meng, Zhao King, who had been hiding in the bushes, made her move and stabbed Hu Ping with a fatal blow. Then, to frame Hu Meng, Zhao King stabbed Hu Ping over 10 more times, leaving Hu Meng's fingerprints on the knife. We dragged Hao Meng and Ku Ping into the bushes and made it look like they had conflict. After hearing the woman's story, Zhao Wu clenched his fists tightly. Who's the spy in the police force? You found out what time Ku Ping was driving home that night through them, right? The woman, wanting him to have clarity before his death, replied honestly, there's no spy. We tampered with Ku Ping's new car during its first service, so we knew exactly where her car was at all times. Zhao Wu gritted his teeth in anger. Killing Ku Ping has to make sense, right? Of course, I took their money and helped them get rid of a threat. A woman spoke as she attached a suppressor to her gun. I've finished talking about the police officer's case. Now, should we talk about our own grudge? Zhao Wu sneered coldly. Are you talking about that scumbag Zhao King? Jumping off a building was too easy for him. I should have killed him myself to truly ease Ku Ping's soul. Hearing this, the woman raised her gun and pressed it against his forehead. You don't need to rush. Here, you'll die quietly. In that critical moment, just as the sound of a gunshot rang out, Zhao Wu activated his invisible bulletproof vest. The woman was shocked when the bullet hit him, but didn't cause any harm, and he was still able to move freely. Zhao Wu grabbed the barrel of her gun, but the woman held on tightly, refusing to let go. So he shifted the barrel downward, aiming it at her chin. You want to play, huh? Well, I'll play your game. Suddenly, a kick came from nowhere, sending Zhao Wu flying out of the way. He clutched his stomach and looked at the group, his expression filled with disbelief. Typical Special Forces soldier. I didn't expect this one to be even more skilled than Zhao King. These Special Forces guys, hell, even just one of them, could easily kill me. If I didn't use some unconventional methods, I'd be a goner today for sure. At that moment, one of the Special Forces soldiers, holding an electric prod, stepped forward. Kid, looks like you don't want to die too easily. In that case, let us have some fun with you. At that moment, he pressed the stun gun to Zhao Wu's neck. There was a sharp snap, and suddenly everything around him went dark. The electric machine gun the man was holding also fell silent. This happened because Zhao Wu had activated the electrical disabling system. The man cursed under his breath as the world around him went black, making it impossible for him to figure out where Zhao Wu was. In an instant, a powerful punch slammed into his chin. Zhao Wu activated his night vision camouflage and with a hint of amusement said to him, How do you want to play? I'll play your way. The man seemed to have sensed Zhao Wu's position. He immediately shouted to his teammates, He's with me. Shoot in my direction. His teammates behind him opened fire on Zhao Wu, but with his bulletproof vest and night vision, Zhao Wu wasn't injured. He simply raised his hand and landed a heavy punch to the man's face, then easily took his gun. Seeing things weren't going his way, the man begged, Please don't hit me. Zhao Wu raised the gun and aimed at the man's leg, pulling the trigger. The whole place shook with the sound, and the man's leg was instantly disabled. At that moment, a bright light pierced through a crack. Sister Xuan quickly spotted Zhao Wu's position and immediately opened fire at him. The bullet struck his forehead dead on. Although he had a bulletproof vest, the force of the impact still left him dazed. He let out a loud growl and slowly moved toward her, pointing his gun at her without hesitation, firing relentlessly. The people around quickly dodged, but one person wasn't so lucky and got hit by a bullet. The young policewoman, clutching her hip, lay on the ground, saying, I've been shot. Xuan, hurry, save me. But at that moment, Xuan was more concerned about her own safety and had no time to help her. Facing the gun pointed straight at her, the woman remained calm. The moment Zhao Wu fired, she immediately kicked the gun away and drew a knife from her side. Without hesitation, she charged at Zhao Wu, stabbing him straight in the chest. Zhao Wu could only grunt before collapsing to the ground with a heavy thud. As the blood started to flow, a terrifying shadow of death surrounded him. He thought about the girl he hadn't even had a chance to win over, and how the sweet potato he'd been roasting was still unfinished. Dying here felt like such a waste. His will to survive snapped him back to consciousness. His anger fueled his fighting spirit. With all his strength, he pulled the knife out of his chest and activated the hidden hemostatic drug. Zhao Wu knew he needed to take care of them quickly, as his gear had a time limit. Gripping his weapon, he started to move toward the woman. Just as he was about to strike, a deafening explosion shook the air. Before Zhao Wu could even turn around, a large cabinet crashed down on top of him, pinning him to the ground. Seeing this, the man eagerly rushed forward, kicking the cabinet hard, trying to crush Zhao Wu under it. But suddenly, a fist punched through the cabinet, and then the rest of his body followed, emerging from the wreckage. Zhao Wu activated the energy-boosting drug. In that moment, he felt incredibly strong. The man facing him stood frozen, unable to believe his eyes. After a moment, he swung a powerful punch. Normally, a punch like that would be enough to kill an adult on the spot. But Zhao Wu was completely unaffected, maintaining a calm expression as he stared at his opponent. "Are you done? Now it's my turn." Seeing this, the man took a step back in fear. Just as Zhao Wu's fist came down on his face, a brutal barrage of attacks followed. At that moment, a high-heeled shoe flew toward him. Zhao Wu reacted quickly, raising his hand to block and then delivering a powerful kick to the woman's waist. She was sent flying, crashing to the ground and lying still. After taking care of everyone, Zhao Wu noticed the young female police officer who had been shot in the backside. She was hiding under a table, trembling, crying, and begging him not to come closer. Playing the game of deceit, Zhao Wu said as he grabbed her and dragged her out from under the table. The police officer struggled, terrified, but there was no escaping him. She could only cry and beg for mercy. "Mr. Zhao, please don't kill me." "They made me do it." "Quick, who hired you? Who wanted to kill Captain Kuping?" The young officer's face turned pale with fear, and she immediately confessed. "It was Yu Fu King, his alias is Mr. Yu. It was his people who contacted me. They said Ku Ping's father had killed his son, and they talked about how it was normal to settle scores between father and son." Zhao Wu, after hearing this, angrily shouted, "Where is he now?" The young policewoman replied that she didn't know either. "Just stick to your statement and report it to the police team." With that, he called the team. "The case is progressing. Send someone to the location I sent immediately." At that moment, he finally let out a sigh of relief and silently vowed, "Ku Ping, I will definitely avenge you." In his dazed state, he realized his teammates had arrived. Zhao Wu felt weak all over, his body limp, and even his eyes felt heavy, making it hard to open them. Yingji was the first to rush to his side, holding him in her arms. Her voice trembled as she called his name. "Zhao Wu, wake up. Don't scare me. Can you open your eyes?" A subordinate anxiously shouted, "We won't make it in time for the ambulance. He's in critical condition. We need to start CPR immediately." Although life was important, it was a bit awkward. Yingji panicked when Zhao Wu didn't respond and was about to lean in to give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. As her lips moved closer, it seemed Zhao Wu caught a whiff of her scent. Unexpectedly, at this crucial moment, the young policewoman beside them suddenly spoke up. "I'm from the city's special forces team. I was just investigating with police officer Zhao Wu. Those people on the ground are Zhao King's accomplices. Let me go." Upon hearing this, Zhao Wu erupted in fury. A surge of strength seemed to come from nowhere, and he immediately sprang out of Yingji's arms. "Let you go? Damn, say that again. Who the hell are you?" The young policewoman screamed in fear. I was wrong. I'm a spy. Don't let him touch me anymore." Zhao Wu ordered the detectives nearby, cuff her immediately, and then turned to Yingji. "Captain Biao, there's a person named Yu Fu King who bribed these special forces soldiers. They're the ones who plan to kill Captain Ku Ping. The transfer of Chief Zhao was also part of their plot." As he spoke, Zhao Wu felt a sharp pain in his chest and had trouble breathing, followed by a violent coughing fit. Yingji quickly moved to support him. "Don't rush, just take your time," she said. Zhao Wu mustered all his strength to look up. "There's one more thing, the artificial respiration earlier. Could you do it again for me?" The moment he said this, Yingji was left feeling both embarrassed and angry. She was completely at a loss with him. Time passed, and after what seemed like forever, Zhao Wu finally began to wake up slowly. However, his thoughts were still stuck on the roasted sweet potatoes that had been left unfinished with Yingji. Suddenly, he felt a soft body pressing against his inner thigh. Without thinking, he pulled the person into his arms, mumbling, "Team Leader Miao?" "Did you come to do artificial respiration for me?" he asked. The girl nodded, confirming his question. Just as he thought things might be getting better, she suddenly pulled out a large syringe and pointed it at him, preparing to inject him. Zhao Wu yelled out in shock, waking up fully. As his mind cleared, he realized he was in a single hospital room, and the nurse taking care of him was none other than his ex-girlfriend, Tao Jia. Tao Jia was anxiously checking on him. "Officer Zhao, how are you feeling now? I need to change your dressing. Don't move, okay? Your surgery went smoothly, and the stab wound in your back didn't hit any vital organs. You're safe. I can't believe you ended up in our department. I'll take good care of you, I promise." Before Tao Jia could finish speaking, Yingji pushed the door open. When she saw the two of them in such a close position while changing his bandages, she froze. A surge of unexplainable anger ignited within her. To ease the tension, Zhao Wu took the initiative to greet them, saying, "Is Officer Biao here? The weather's really nice today." Then Yingji stormed over, angrily shouting at him, "You damn bastard. I knew something was off when you ran straight to that bakery. Now look at you, all beat up. Serves you right." As she spoke, Yingji grabbed a roll of bandages from the table and threw it right at Zhao Wu's head. Taojia quickly stepped in, trying to stop her. "He's a patient. How can you treat him like this?" This only made Yingji angrier. "You're a nurse, right? Well, right now I need to interrogate this cop a little, so I'd appreciate it if you'd cooperate. We need to have a private conversation." Sensing a tension in the air, Zhao Wu quickly spoke up to mediate. "Let's just talk this through calmly." As soon as he said that, both of them turned their anger towards him and in unison shouted, "What's it got to do with you?" After Tao Jia left, Yingji continued to grumble, sticking to him like that, always calling him Officer Zhao, as if you two are more than just friends. It's obvious what kind of friendship you had back in the day. Zhao Wu quickly defended himself. "It wasn't like that. It was an accident. I was hurt in my ribs and collarbone, and when I tried to sit up, I coughed so hard it felt like my heart was about to burst." Yingji immediately grew serious. "Zhao Wu, are you okay? Drink some water. Team leader Miao really cares about me. If you weren't such a mess, you'd be the only one in my bed from now on." Even though Zhao Wu spoke in a playful manner, Yingji couldn't help but smile brightly like the sun. However, her actions didn't show any sign of compromise, and she quickly pulled her hand away from supporting him. In an instant, a cup of water splashed right in his face. At that moment, the monitor started beeping with sharp, quick sounds, and his heartbeat went flat. Yingji was completely panicked, desperately shaking him. "Zhao Wu, don't mess with me. What's wrong with you? Open your eyes." She turned her head and yelled at the doctor, "Come quick. Someone needs help." At that moment, Zhao Wu sat up and tightly hugged her. The next second, he kissed her passionately. Just as they were lost in the moment, the doctor arrived. Zhao Wu quickly tried to explain, panic in his voice. "I dropped the heart rate monitor's cable." The doctor gave a few quick instructions. "Make sure to rest, avoid heavy activity, and let your girlfriend take good care of you." Then the doctor closed the door and left. Embarrassed, Yingji nestled into his arms, too shy to move. Zhao Wu hugged her tightly and whispered softly, "Did you hear that? The doctor said you need to take good care of me." Once again teasing her, Yingji was so angry she felt like she might explode. She shouted, "I'm definitely going to teach you a lesson later, you jerk." Quick on his feet, Zhao Wu pretended to be in pain. "Don't bully a wounded person like this." Suddenly, Yingji became serious and spoke up. "Professional assassin Wu Shuang, mercenary Liu Yucheng, and Kuan Yan, all trained killers. Any of these special forces soldiers can easily kill you, but you beat them to the point of near death. Almost didn't make it. Now tell me what really happened." Zhao Wu, still playful, smirked. "Well, look at me. I'm still alive, right? If you want to know, how about you feed me some porridge?" The girl glared at him, but still picked up the bowl of porridge and called out to him, "At this point, can you please talk seriously?" Hearing that, Zhao Wu quickly puckered his lips and said, "Actually, I'm a bit confused too. Think about it. How can we win? It's just so hard to believe. Maybe they were too overconfident, or maybe I'm just really that good." Seeing that he wasn't being honest, Yingji pulled the spoon away from him. "If you won't tell me, it's fine. Once those special forces wake up and start talking, I'll know everything. But," she added, her worry obvious, "if you die, you won't even let me finish what I was saying." Zhao Wu kissed her on the forehead and reassured her, "Don't worry. How can I leave you a widow?" Then Yingji's angry shouting could be heard from the other room. After everyone left, Zhao Wu started thinking, Miao Yingji wasn't wrong. If those guys confessed about the props during the interrogation, it would be all over. So he started rummaging through his stuff to see if anything could be useful. When he spotted the new tool the system gave him while he was unconscious, he couldn't help but smile. Memory cutter. This is like being given a piece of cake when you're starving. He said that, then tossed the blanket aside and was about to get out of bed. He hadn't felt anything before because of the blanket, but as soon as he threw it off, he realized he was completely naked. And just at that moment, Yingji happened to walk in and saw everything, not missing a single detail. The girl's face turned bright red as she slapped Zhao Wu across the face. "Do you want to die? You pervert." As she spoke, she landed a punch so hard it echoed through the room. Outside the room where the criminals were being held, the colleague standing at attention greeted Zhao Wu with nods. With his cheeks swollen from the punch, Zhao Wu gave an order. "You guys must be tired from standing guard all day. Let me take over for a bit." After sending everyone away, he rushed into the room, started up the memory editing machine, and began erasing the memories of the intense fight in the warehouse and the use of props. Without hesitation, he pressed the delete button. That way, he wouldn't have to worry about them spilling any secrets. However, just as Zhao Wu was about to finish the task smoothly, the little police officer suddenly woke up. She saw Zhao Wu and was terrified, immediately shouting and scrambling to keep him away. But then the room fell silent again. The colleagues on duty outside thought they were hallucinating, but they trusted that Zhao Wu wouldn't make a mistake. Thanks to this case, Zhao Wu became quite famous.